Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
I'm talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah.
And then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's go live on a Tuesday edition of the program. Bo the boys with you for the next three. We'll hit the real truth around 10 o'clock. Uncle Dom going to stop by at 10:30. Dane Brugler, my favorite when it comes to breaking down draft classes, will join at 11:30. The SEC and the Big Ten are going to meet this week. Could be some interesting conversations come out of that. We'll get to that at 11 o'clock. We got SNL, we got Four Nations, NBA All-Star, all of these things. Ryan Day on his quarterbacks loaded up here on a Tuesday, back and better than ever. Well, not better. That's a lie. Mind you, I'm not better than ever. It sucked. I had some time off. I'll be very candid with you. This time of year, I get a little seasonal depression. I get a little bit antsy. Now the sun's out, so that helps. But get a little bit antsy. So we usually try to get out of town. Usually we try to get out of town around the holidays. Couldn't do that this year because we had Buckeye games that were stacked in, and so you can't take time off in those type of games. And then I usually try to get away for the kids. Usually have President's Day off, and they usually have the Friday before. So it's a little 4-day weekend we try to get out of town for. And so we were going to this year as well. We're going to the operative words there. So I told you last week it was Tuesday night when Bootsy had the projectile vomiting all over the living room, all over the first floor in several spots. So here's the thing as a parent. When that happens, you say to yourself, you become a little bit of a detective, and you say, okay, is this an isolated incident where one is sick? Or is this going to run through us like smallpox? And everyone's going to get it, and you just have to hope that you can get out of it and just, all right, when's my turn? I'll take it. Let's go. Our hope was that it was the former, not the latter. Hope, the operative word. So Thursday, into Thursday, finish the shows, get everything all packed up. We're getting out of town. We were going to leave, actually, Thursday night. And sure enough, probably around 11 o'clock Thursday night, I hear my wife, and she's cooked. So she's doing this. She's throwing up all over, and away you go. She did make it to the toilet, unlike Bootsy, who just said, the hell with it, I'm going to puke everywhere. Okay, so now we're locked in. So she's really upset. She's like, well, we can't go anywhere now. So we have to cancel the trip, cancel hotels. Luckily, I had already made the decision to drive, not fly, so that helped. So we weren't having to worry about that. I don't know what happens if you're on a plane and you have a flu outbreak amongst your family. I don't know how you get out of that alive. It feels like a total mess. I've not had to do that, thankfully. So I said to myself, all right, this was Friday. All right, we were supposed to go somewhere. Let's make the best of it. So let's take the boys. We'll do a little, mom's on the mend. She's on the couch. I mean, it took her out. And she's still not 100%. Like she was out completely Friday, out much of Saturday. And just now kind of sort of being normal in terms of what she could eat and such. So I said, let's do a little guys' day. So we're going to do Top Golf. I said, what are you guys going to do? You do anything you want. So they wanted to go to Top Golf, and then they wanted to go to Dave & Buster's. So these things aren't really that close together. So, okay, fine. So we do the Top Golf first, and then we go to Dave & Buster's. By the way, like $200 at Dave & Buster's doesn't go as long as you'd think. In the old days, I felt like that would have lasted like 8 hours. It lasted about an hour, is about what it got us. Top Golf seemed like the much better deal. Loved both. So we're leaving Dave & Buster's, and my wife, a pair of her slippers were one of the casualties in the Bootsy disaster from Tuesday night. And so we're like, all right, let's go get mom it's Valentine's Day. Let's go get her some slippers. So we're going to the mall to get her some slippers, and Beamsy goes, my stomach hurts. Okay, we're 30 minutes from home minimum at this point. So I'm like, how bad? He goes, bad. I said, okay. So I pull over, and I'm like, we pull over like one of those doctors. It's like a clinic. We pull over there, like we get near the trash dumpsters, and I'm like, all right, if you're going to do this, just that way into the grass, and we'll apologize in spirit. So he does not. I was like, can you handle this? He goes, yeah. All right. I said, we got about 30 minutes to get home. So all I had was 2 empty cups of coffee, like a Starbucks cup of coffee. And I'm like, if you're going to spew into this. And NBC has the brilliant idea. He goes, Dad, we've got the Dave & Buster's bag. And I said, perfect. That's bigger, because Bootsy had won some ridiculous stuffed animals or something. So now we're driving, and we're going with a little bit of rate of speed to us. And I tell Beamsy, I'm like, listen, if you're gonna get sick, just please do it in the sack until I can get pulled over. Just promise me you can do that. So we're cruising. We're 15 minutes. Everything seems pretty good. He's sitting in the driver's seat, in the passenger seat, rather, with the sack underneath his chin. So he's like this. And he's sitting with the sack under his chin, and we're driving. We are 10 minutes from home, and it starts. And so I don't know when the last time you've driven a car and had someone throwing up next to you into a sack while 2 other children are in the back seat, but it's not a ton of fun. The odor isn't great. And it's a tough spot. But we're also thinking about, how do we make sure I don't need puke all over my car. Thank God for Tesla with the autopilot. God bless him. I mean, that saved a lot there. But he's going, and it's not like a little, it's a lot. It's more and more and more. And I'm going, oh my God. I'm like, just hang. Now we're coming off of 10 days previously. NBC was lucky enough to hit a half-court shot to beat a rival at the buzzer. What Beamsy did trumped that by 1 billion. My guy puked into a sack for the better part of 10 minutes, and not a single drop of puke landed anywhere other than the sack. So much so that when we got to that house, I said, just stay there. He didn't move. He just stayed like this. I grabbed the sack out, and he got into the house with nary a drop anywhere. I don't know how he did it. It's the most clutch performance of a child in the history of child. There's no one, I don't know, maybe King Tut had a good day. I don't know. It's hard to imagine any child has been more clutch. Macaulay Culkin shooting Home Alone, maybe. It's a short list of young people being more clutch than Beamsy was. Not a drop. Yeah.
That's accuracy you can reward.
Dude, it was unreal. I just stared at him in awe. I just was awestruck. I just thought, who could do that? Because I know if it were the other 2, they'd be whimpering and crying and puking all over everything and complaining and all. He didn't say a word. He just sat there with the sack like a feed bag, handled his business like a champion until we got home.
I'm picturing the plastic handles over his ears.
They're right by him,
okay.
Like at his jawline. I mean, he had his face in it kind of the whole time. So imagine if you're getting sick and you're looking down and smelling your own. I mean, it's just brutal. It's brutal. And he did it.
The closest when I had Odie as a puppy in the back seat, you were kind of like, all right, Jesus, take the wheel. We'll see how this drive goes. And I was always prepared with a liner in the back seat and with cleaning supplies, because it happened a lot. And so after the first time, I was like, well, this is just part of life at this point. And so, you take whatever you can find and you put it in the car. You save a lot of bags, and you make sure that if it's going to happen, because sure enough, as you get in the car and start it every day with a dog in there, or with, I'm assuming, a small child, you are prepared for the worst. You're hoping for the best. You're hoping for a smooth ride, no incidents. But in that case, that was a good job at everybody with the situational awareness that you could only hope your other 2 have in the future.
Great job with the idea of the bag, too.
Well, I'll give NBC a little credit there to take the stuffed animals out of the bag, and to then use that as the that was pretty clutch as well. But the execution, the awareness and execution was unlike anything I've ever seen. And so, how was the time off? There wasn't any. It was nothing. We were sick. They were sick all the way through, so he was out. I mean, and this thing took you, it was like 12 hours. It would bury you for 12 hours. Then you really weren't right until like 36 hours later. I think Fish maybe had something like this too. He was out last week. Like, it's going around. Amazingly, up until today, nothing for your boy. Sturdy stock.
I'm knocking so hard on this wood.
I don't know how. I told my wife, I said, if I got through Saturday and Sunday, like, I sleep in the same bed as you and you were sick Thursday night. I was in the car with Beamsy on Friday. Like, if it's Tuesday, I'm okay. I feel like I'm in the clear. Now, I just got a text from her 12 minutes ago saying that NBC has to be picked up at school because his stomach's, and he was the only other one who was unscathed. He was unscathed.
Uh-oh.
He and I were the last remaining. So if he gets it, now he also could be trying to Bueller it. That's in play too. I don't know. But if he gets it, then I'm back on high alert. But I think if I got this far out, I'm in the clear. I think I got to be in the clear at this point. We're talking 4 days removed. I was next to people. Like, come on.
Yeah, I did the handoff with Beam today. It was kind of like they say March it's survive and advance, but it feels like February is the true survive and advance for most people. You get, obviously, with the men's basketball tournament, that's survive and advance late in March. But right now, like you mentioned, Fish, things are going around. It feels like everywhere. Survive and advance is the name of the game right now.
Yeah, and and on top of it, it's the worst winter since I've lived in Ohio.
So cold.
Since 2007. This is the worst one that we've had by far. By far. And now we got to get to spring break, kids. I got to get to spring break. That's my next chance.
Is that early or later this year?
It's late March. It's like 6 weeks, brother. It's going to be Indiana next week. God, it's everything sucks. It's pure suck. SNL was fun. We'll talk a little bit about the 50th anniversary. The Four Nations is winning. The NBA All-Star did not. We're going to get into that coming up next. Good to be back. We're off and running on a Tuesday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon.
Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter.
Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Aaron, look what I invented.
Jerry, you're wearing a cape.
Get Eco.
ECO.
What is it that you promise our customers, Aaron?
We come through for you when you need us to.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Do you know who does that, Aaron?
We do?
Superheroes do that, Aaron. Superheroes!
I'm guessing you make capes for everyone?
That's right. Every plumber, electrician, and HVAC technician. But I'm not done, Aaron. I'm not done.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Now I'm inventing jetpacks so we can fly to the rescue like proper superheroes. Now say your line again.
We come through for you when you need us to?
No, say it like this. We come through for you when you need us to.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Jerry.
Yeah, Aaron?
How about we put those capes in the closet until you get the jetpacks perfected?
We'll look right when we take flight.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Eco. Plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians. GetEco.com.
Get ready, Columbus. The powerful and reliable 2025 Toyota Tundra SR can be yours for just $349 a month. That's right. Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Drive home in a truck built for adventure, performance, and power, all for an unbeatable price. But hurry, this deal won't last long. Visit Germain Toyota of Columbus today and experience the Tundra for yourself. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road, or online at germaintoyota.net.
$3,999 down, 39-month lease, plus tax, title, and fees. No security deposit required with approved credit. Offer ends soon. See dealer for details.
I'm Leslie from Pella Columbus.
And I'm Wilson from that other window place.
At Pella, we use the newest technology to show you exactly how new windows would look on your home.
Well, we keep it simple at our window place. We use a number 2 pencil to draw what your house will look like with our new windows. See?
Oh yeah, that definitely looks like a number 2.
Thank you, Leslie. Wait, I see what you did there.
Get the windows that Columbus homeowners rate the leading and most trusted at PellaColumbus.com.
At Meijer, we work hard to bring more of the good life to your life, so you can bring home more perfectly plump and flavorful produce picked for precise freshness, beautifully marbled beyond brag-worthy certified Angus beef, and more must-have money-saving M-Perks rewards. Because saving more on local favorites is good, but bringing home more of what you love in every trip, that's the good life. We do more to make life a good deal better at Meijer.
The Buckeyes are national champions. And you listen to it all right here on The Fan. And next year when they do it again, it'll be here on The Fan. And the year after that, well, you know the drill. Always and forever, your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan.
Have you ever told a friend?
Oh, I'm fine.
When you really felt?
Just so overwhelmed.
Or sent a text?
Can't sleep. Are you awake?
When you couldn't find the words to say?
I'm scared to be alone with my thoughts right now.
Then this is your sign to reach out to the 988 Lifeline for 24/7 free confidential support. You don't have to hide how you feel. Text, call, or chat anytime.
Hi, the Scott Antique Markets are back again at the Ohio Expo Center, featuring hundreds of vendors with collectibles and merchandise from all over the world. The market is one weekend monthly, November through March. Build your family heirlooms. You can find everything that gets old. Just take I-71 to exit 111 to enjoy America's favorite treasure hunt. Visit thescottantiquemarket.com for more information. Come join us at the Ohio Expo Center for the Scott Antique Markets. It's huge. It's the Scott Antique Markets this weekend.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We are looking at a very cold Tuesday out there. Temperatures today will rise up to about 18, but wind chills this afternoon will only get up to around 6 degrees. We'll be looking for increasing clouds today. Cloudy on your Wednesday with a high of 20. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Your morning just got beefier. Morning Juice with Beamer, Bobby, and Shark.
Weekdays from 6 to 9.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. After putting up with Tom Tiberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
So, I think it happened around probably like 12. It's right around NBC's age now, like 12, 13. You start to, they start to get this thing where they're just, it's almost like giving effort isn't cool. Like that's kind of their thing. Like it's kind of like, I'm too cool to like try hard. Like everyone's kind of screwing around. Let's just kind of half-ass this. Like, you know, that's kind of when it happened. So up until that point, all the time I've spent coaching youth sports, really up until 6th grade, there's quite a bit of effort that's given if you ask it. Like, basically do what you say. And then around 6th grade, they start to question, and it starts to be not cool to give effort. And it's cooler to, like, be kind of half-ass and be kind of the cool dude and stuff. And eventually that changes. I mean, you get to high school, and it becomes, you know, if you don't give effort, you're not going to be on the team and those type of things. And obviously it changes in college and hopefully in professional sports as well. That's where I kind of think the NBA All-Star Game got about probably 15 years ago. It got to the point where it wasn't cool to try. And I think that LeBron James is you know, he's 1A as greatest player of all time. I've often said the only thing he's ever really done wrong is choose a poor way to leave his hometown team. That's kind of it. Everything else he's kind of crushed. I would like to add one amendment to this, and that is this. I think that him and his generation kind of ruined the NBA All-Star Game. I think they did. I was looking at stuff over the weekend, and I was looking at, there's a clip that came up from like the early 2010s where Kobe picked up LeBron full court in an All-Star game, and he guarded him, and he blocked his shot, and he got a breakaway the other way, and Durant got a dunk. It was East versus West, and he got a dunk the other way, and it was like, oh, they used to go in this thing. That wasn't that long ago. It was a decade ago. A little more than. They used to go in this thing. Now, when I was a kid, it was a blood feud because it was Lakers versus Celtics. And so there was great pride in East versus West. And most of those guys stayed on one side. They stayed East or stayed West for their entire careers. There wasn't the fluidity in rosters that there is now. So, like, it wasn't like Magic Johnson was ever going to play for the East. He was only a Western Conference player. Karl Malone was only a Western Conference player. Larry Bird, Michael Jordan were only Eastern Conference players. So there was this pride between East-West. So the AAUification of the league is part of it, in that you bounced around. And the other thing is they just started to half-ass it. They stopped being in dunk contests. They stopped being in still do the three-point thing a little bit, but they just stopped trying. And so the game would be 190 to 176, and they tried Elam ending, and they tried all of these things to incentivize them to play. I heard Charles Barkley on the broadcast when Draymond Green said this format sucks, and it did suck. The format did suck. It was silly. It was ridiculous what they did on that thing. And I didn't watch it. I was watching the SNL thing. When SNL would go to commercial, I'd bounce over and I'd watch a little bit. And my kids were into it a little bit, which I suppose that's who it's for more than anything else. But I heard Chuck say to Draymond, you guys ruined this thing. You ruined it by not caring about it. And I don't know that you can put that genie back in the bottle. I think it's kind of cooked. There was a time, and Bake, you and I are of similar age, where the two best All-Star games were the baseball All-Star game and the NBA. Those were the two best, where you were going to get some intensity to those. And both have fluttered. I think All-Star games in general have all suffered. But I think this one has suffered the most. It's a clown show now. And I don't think it's a reflection. I know that people want to say the NBA is dead. It's not. It's fine. It's fine. It's a global game. It's seen around the world. The ratings are down. The ratings are down for everything. We'll get to the Four Nations in a second because that's a bit of a cheat code. But I do think that this All-Star weekend, I think the genie's out of the bottle, and she ain't going back in. There's no getting it back in. Like, to make it cool again to try, they could try like USA against the world. They could maybe try that, and because there's enough European and world stars to make it up. But you'd have to select the All-Stars that way. It'd have to be the best from the rest of the world. It'd have to be the best Americans, and you could go 10 of each or 12 of each and try it that way. You couldn't do the normal All-Star format as it is now. But there's probably enough that you could do it. Maybe that would do it. Maybe you go back to East-West. But until there's effort given from the best players, and it's cool to try, like Wemby was sprinting around like he was very excited to be there, but then he played hardly none. So it was just kind of silly. I think that they wrecked it, and I think LeBron's at the forefront of it. And I love him. I think he's done a lot of things right, but I think he's a big part of how this got ruined.
But it's funny, and I think they tried something like that against, like USA against other players a few years ago. Maybe it's been a little longer than that, but it's funny you talked about that, and you talked about Kobe. I saw a clip this past week, and it was of Michael Jordan's last All-Star game, and they told Kobe, hey, don't do anything here so Michael gets the win. And Kobe just kind of looked at him like, who the heck are you? And he goes and buries a three in the corner, and Michael just gives him some kind of smile, and it was like, I ain't letting you win. It's so funny.
No, it's different. No, it was different then. It was different. This is a half-assed production now. And I don't think there's any fixing it, Reese.
Yeah, and the messaging was exceptionally bad around it Saturday night and Sunday night, where you had the NBA basically telling on itself, where you had guys that were being paid through NBA broadcast contracts that this sucks.
Yeah.
This format sucks. The effort sucks. The whole product's bad. So if you're telling me it's bad Saturday night, and you've been telling me it's bad for the past couple of weeks, why am I giving any time on Saturday night, especially when you've got Team USA and Team Canada? And then Saturday, I hardly even know what the format is. Like, I don't know who's drafting these teams. I'm not 100% sure. Like, LeBron sat out just Sunday morning. All of a sudden, you saw LeBron's not playing. It's like, well, would you get a replacement? Nope. Just, you can have one less player. And he happens to be, I guess, the most recognizable face in the NBA, because the guy that you would want to be the American face of the NBA told you on the broadcast he had no interest in being the face of the NBA.
Yeah.
The whole thing's a mess. And
it is a mess.
The only way to fix it is to, I don't know.
No, I don't think you can. I think it's cooked until you get guys trying again, and you can try to incentivize. They make so much money, though. I mean, I even saw like they're talking about doing like a one-on-one tournament. Okay. Unless it's for like $100 million, I don't think you're going to get the effort in that. They're talking about a one-on-one tournament for $1 million. I don't know. Maybe there'd be something. My guess is they would do like LeBron and not enter. I mean, that's LeBron never entered the dunk contest. Never did. Right?
The incentive monetarily is only there for guys like Mac McClung, who through three dunk contest wins has tripled his NBA earnings, which have been in the G League.
And I think that probably tells you all you need to know about the All-Star game. that the kind of the highlight of it is a guy who's basically a professional dunker. And that's been the story. And they keep bringing him back. Like, he's not an NBA player. He's a G League guy. But they keep him around because he was unbelievable. His dunks are crazy. I mean, the jumping over a car and tomahawk, I mean, it's crazy what his dunks are. But it's not enough. I want to talk about the Four Nations at a little bit greater length, but let's also just say this, that the two things are not the same. You cannot compare an NBA All-Star game to a Four Nations tournament that features USA and Canada. Like, those are not the same. Four Nations is a cheat code. It's a cheat code. In the middle of the year to say, let's take the best players from Canada, the United States, Sweden, and Finland, and let's play a tournament. It's like an Olympic. It's the Olympics. It's a World Cup. Like, it gives you complete national pride. This is not the All-Star game. I give the NHL owners a lot of credit for doing this because the response has been awesome. USA-Canada was unreal. That was unbelievable. It was awesome. But that is not the NHL All-Star game. If it was the NHL All-Star game, we'd be talking about it the way we're talking about the NBA. Because it'd be 9-7, 11-8, and nobody'd hit anybody and everybody'd skate around. Because they haven't figured it out either. And the fact that the owners in the NHL are willing to allow their players to play in the middle of their season straight up Donnybrooks, which is what you got with USA-Canada, it's brave, it's bold, it's smart for them because it's most people watching hockey all year long are watching this. And when USA plays Canada on Thursday, it's going to do a big number for sure. I mean, there's a political theater around it. It's got everything. But it's not an all-star game at all. So you cannot compare the two.
In the fear in this is what you saw last night, Bo, with Brady Tkachuk sliding into the net and going out of the game after just 2 minutes on the ice. Now, maybe if there was more to that game, like I'm pretty sure Austin Matthews and Matthew Tkachuk and probably Charlie McAvoy would have played last night, but there was no reason to. The USA was already in the championship game, and Canada was already in the championship game. So that game last night really, honestly didn't matter for anything for the tournament. But your fear is somebody gets hurt, and the Ottawa Senators are in a playoff push right now. And if Brady Tkachuk has to miss any time, that's what the fear is in all of this for the NHL teams, of course.
It's real.
You talk about fear. That's Zach Werenski, and he's had 5 assists through 3 games and is showcasing how good of a hockey player he is on a national stage. But when Brady goes down, I was like, that's what I had feared for Zach. Now, it hasn't happened, but I still don't besmirch him for doing this because, boy, the pride and passion they played with against Canada, when you put that USA on that sweater, on your body, it's like you transform almost.
It's a cheat code. It's a passion cheat code. You're playing for country. I don't think it'll have any impact in terms of NHL ratings going forward or interest in the league. I think it's like the Olympics. I think you paratroop in, you see us versus Canada, let's go. And it'll do a big number on Thursday. It did a big number when they played last week. But I don't know that it will mean anything down the road. But I think the NHL is really smart to do this stuff because they're scratching and clawing for attention, and they kind of won the weekend. That's a good job. That's winning the weekend at big risk because I thought the same thing with you as Zach. It's like, good Lord, just don't get hurt. Like, let's keep the big thing here.
And we're seeing the TV numbers and talking about those. I wonder, and I'm sure it's amazing, but the social numbers, the hits they got on their social media and all of that, it's probably more than anything they've had maybe ever.
Yeah, I mean, when you do this, we've seen this in Olympic competition in the middle of the season. We've seen it in World. When you allow for this, we will watch. We will watch because patriotism is undefeated. And you'll see it. And they'll do a big number on Thursday. It's 8 o'clock. It's in Boston. It's going to be a cracker for sure. All right, 2 minutes from now, Ryan Day, quarterback battle is wide open. Do we believe him? We'll get to that in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Man, I'm in a slump. My energy took a nosedive out of nowhere, and I just don't have the motivation to get things done.
You're over 40. Could be lower testosterone. Have you tried Nugenix Total T?
Nugenix, the testosterone booster on TV?
That's right. Look, I felt the same plunge in my energy after I turned 40, so I tried out Nugenix to see if it would help me.
Did Nugenix make a difference for you?
Night and day. My stamina is way up now. I'm building lean muscle at the gym. I'm totally back on my game. And you could be too. Just send a text to Nugenix. Plus, they'll send you a complimentary bottle so you can try it for yourself.
Text ROCK to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text ROCK to 321-321. That's ROCK to 321-321. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon.
Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter.
Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
Ready to hit the road in a new car? With Pathways, enjoy up to 90 days with no payments and low auto loan rates. Learn more at pathwayscu.com. Pathways Financial Credit Union, your true financial partner. Federally insured by NCUA.
This is a Craver service announcement. Stop what you're doing and get 10 cheese sliders for a new low price of just $7.99. Your choice of melty American, spicy jalapeno, or cheddar cheese. Only $7.99 for 10 cheese sliders. White Castle. Follow your crave.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
All right, here's what's up on a Tuesday edition of the program. Last week, Ryan Day caught up with Dom. And yeah, that's about right. Dom's available. Coach wants to talk. That's the way that it goes. Among the things Dommy talked with Coach about was the quarterback battle and the nature that it is wide open. Here's Ryan with Dom from 10 TV Plus.
Yeah, it'll be a very fierce competition. You know, Lincoln and Julian and then Tavian. You know, we're excited to see those guys compete. And, you know, we'll chart everything, and everything will be a competition. You know, I feel like we're going to need everybody, but you know, I feel like there'll be a lot of growth coming out of the spring and an opportunity for these guys to take it and run. It's one thing when you're a backup. It's another thing when you're actually running it. And I've shared with those guys, especially with Lincoln and Julian, who were there last year, you got a chance to see a guy lead at a high level. So now, and this was the conversation leading up to the national championship game. When the national championship's over, that's it. Will's done. His time's done here. Now you have to now take it over. And so you have to walk different. You got to move different. You know, you have to, you know, practice different, you know, everything like that. So this is an opportunity now for these guys to take it and run. And then Tavian, you know, is just coming. But Tavian spent 2 weeks here too, and that was great for our freshmen to see how these guys operate in the last 2 weeks of the season.
So it's wide open right now?
Oh, yeah, wide open.
Do you believe him? Because since Ryan has been the head coach at Ohio State, there have been several wide open quarterback battles. Some of them were probably pretty legitimate. Dwayne and Burrow was, I think, pretty legitimate. Justin Fields, Matthew Baldwin, less so. C.J. Stroud, Kyle McCord, less so. McCord and Devin Brown seemed kind of legit. Howard and Brown seemed kind of legit. But how serious can this possibly be? Let's just explore a little bit the notion that it is wide open, and take Coach Day at his word on that. If it is wide open, I would say that I am shocked that Devin Brown is still not here. Because if it were wide open, he was a guy who's been here a lot. And obviously, a long time. He's a guy who's played. He's battled injury, sure, absolutely. But to me, he saw the writing on the wall and said, I got to go play somewhere, and got out of Dodge. And commend him for sticking with all the way through the national championship game and being the backup and burning the boats and all the things that come with that. But to me, and this isn't pay attention to the scores, it's just a little bit of common sense. If this was truly a wide open battle, wouldn't the most veteran of quarterbacks have stayed? I think the answer to that's probably yes. So he saw something or was told something about that room. And I think we all assume that Julian Sayin will be the next quarterback here. assuming is tricky. He's going to have to go perform and play well and handle all that comes with it. But in terms of it being wide open, I would be absolutely floored if it was somebody other than him. And I think Ryan has to be a little careful here, because the one thing that he's saying is we're going to need all of them. Yeah, you are. You're going to play 16 games. You're going to need all of them. There's no question. You can't have anybody else transfer. You cannot have the guy behind Julian being a true freshman who last year was playing at Bell Fountain, no matter how talented he is. Like, that's just, you have to have some veteran there, and Kienholz can provide that. And I think Lincoln Kienholz is an elite athlete. Elite. We saw him last spring in the softball game, last summer in the softball game, hitting just bombs. Like, he is just an elite athlete. And so you want him to be there. But I would be floored if this was anything other than Julian. And I think what Ryan has to be careful about is Julian needs a lot of reps. So one thing that Ryan is, one of the criticisms, and I think sometimes it's fair, is they split reps a little too long. And I think that happened with McCord and Brown a couple of years ago. And I think you got to make sure that, especially when you're someone as green as whoever's going to be the starter here, whoever it's going to be, they've never started a game in college football. They need a lot of reps to get right, and get to a spot where you can lead this team against Texas to open the season.
That's not just any starting game. It's not the Miami of Ohio. No. Sorry, it's not Ohio University. This is probably the number 2 team in the country playing a quarterback named Manning. Yep. And the pressure, I don't think it could be any higher for a quarterback starting his first game. I think this is I have to say this because this is how I've been programmed. I'm a coaching robot. And when you have an uncertainty or a perceived uncertainty at any position, you've got to go into the offseason saying, yes, of course it is a battle.
Yeah.
But I think if you were to put them up to a lie detector test and you were to stick them with some truth serum, they'd tell you we really like Julian Sain and we really like him to start against the Longhorns on August 30th. Boy, would we.
Yeah.
I will say, to me, on the Devin Brown part of this, I don't think him leaving necessarily means this isn't a true competition. I just don't think he could risk losing a competition. Like, say it was a competition and he just got beat out, then he loses another year of time. That's bad for him. I think he had to go make a decision to go play football that was 100%, hey, I'm going to play. I do think this is a competition. I don't think it's a wide open competition. I do think Julian Sain is ahead. I think it's a competition because I refuse to give up on the athletic potential of Lincoln Kienholz, and we've talked about this, but when you saw those guys throwing before the national championship game, it looked different when Julian and Lincoln were throwing the ball compared to even Will. They have got a snap and a release that is just elite. And when we saw Lincoln in the Cotton Bowl, the few times in that game when he got to throw the ball, and this is the Cotton Bowl from 2 years ago against Missouri. He made some.
Why are you bringing that up?
He made some good throws, and he pushed the ball downfield when he had some time. So I think there's a lot of ability there, and I'm not ready to give up on that athletic ability just yet if this is any kind of competition.
Look, it's Ohio State. Everyone's going to be talented, right? Everyone's good. And I think if Julian Sain doesn't fall into their lap last year with Nick Saban, kind of a sudden departure at Alabama, if Sain doesn't fall in their lap, then I think I'll tell you this. This would be kind of my closing argument on the Devin Brown conversation, Bake. If Julian Sain's not here, Devin Brown is. Like that's a lock. He's here if Julian isn't. And he's going to battle with Lincoln, and he'd roll the dice on how that turned out. I don't think they're going to hand the keys to this football Ferrari to a true freshman. I just think that leap from high school football to that's just a leap you're not ready for. So I think if Julian Sain were still at Alabama, then Devin Brown is still here, and he's competing with Lincoln Kienholz for the starting quarterback job. Or maybe they went into the portal. Maybe they're in on Carson Beck. Who knows? But what I know for sure is that with Julian, that led to maybe your kind of idea here where he couldn't risk it. But this is a guy who burnt the boats. So, I think he thought – my hunch is if he thought that this was truly wide open and he could just go win it, he would. I don't think Ryan Day or anybody at Ohio State is trying to skip Julian Sain to the front of the line. I think the kid came in last spring and wowed him. And I think he blew him away in fall camp. And I think they see somebody who has elite traits. And I think Lincoln's got elite traits too. This is the thing that sucks about quarterback. Only one can play. Like someone could get hurt. You're going to need 2 or 3. I get it, and that's got to be the walking order on it. But the reality is that as long as they're all healthy, only one can play. And so really talented guys are going to have to move to other places. We saw one do that and go to LSU and win a national championship and a Heisman and have maybe the best single season in the history of college football.
12 teams made the college football playoff last year. I'm trying to think how many got through with just one quarterback, with having to play just one quarterback. And I think having, the quarterbacks in the room that you have right now at Ohio State, seeing how that went for Texas, seeing how that went for Georgia, seeing how that went for Ohio State in those key moments, I do think that's helpful for Ryan Day to keep everybody engaged in this, because you don't think you're going 16, 17 games without having to bring in QB2 in a necessary situation. And I'll speak to Lincoln real quick. That Missouri game, the game plan was so unserious. It's very unfair to judge him based off of that Cotton Bowl.
Well, the preparation for him was so unserious. He was
just
the most
bad.
prepared quarterback.
Flush that tape forever. Put it in the box that you put the Ark of the Covenant in, and send it to that big warehouse where everything else is stored.
Bo, this is one complaint that I have had the whole time that Ryan Day has been the coach here, is that they do not go out and blow anyone out early in a game and get the backups in. It seems like he refuses to put a backup quarterback in before the fourth quarter, before the game is halfway through the fourth quarter. There's no way the other team is coming back. I mean, we never saw McCord or Brown. We never saw CJ before he got in. It would be nice to have some film of these guys so it wasn't an unknown.
Reese, what year was it when you and I started doing the bit where we want to see the full, I think it was full complement of the offense.
Uh-huh.
I think it was Kyle. Kyle was backing up CJ. We want to see Kyle McCord in and run the full complement of the offense, and we never got it.
Every week, we were saying that as part of our 3 things to a Buckeye victory.
Just let me see him do something. I think you're right. I think they look at it. I think their attitude, especially with a 16-game season, is if we're up 28-0, we just sit on it and get to the end of the game, as opposed to bury them, play the kids. That's the difference. And I think your complaint is verified. I mean, I think it's real that you don't get to, these guys don't get in. I think it's not just quarterback. I think it's receivers. I think they don't get a chance to eat because they're not burying people, the teams that they should. Not Texas, but when you play the Miami Ohios, you play the teams lesser on your schedule, the Gramblings.
Akron.
Bury them and then see what happens. The Buckeye basketball team with a tough one over the weekend against Michigan, and the bubble is infinite. We'll get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Wake up with The Fan. Eat lunch with The Fan. Go to bed with The Fan. Dream about The Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
Next on Metro's Nada Yada Island podcast.
I almost fainted when the 4 new bombshells arrived. 4 free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G phones at Metro.
No way.
And finding out the 4th line is free. Oh, things got heated.
That's wild. Join Metro and get 4 free Samsung 5G phones. Only at Metro.
Plus tax. Bring 4 numbers and an ID and sign up for any Metro Flex plan. Not available currently at T-Mobile or been with Metro in the past 180 days.
Beds are us. When dreams don't get in, beds are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
Beds are us. When dreams don't get in, beds are us.
This is Hall of Famer number 275, Chris Carter. Buckeye born and bred. Ohio has been a huge part of my football career, from Friday nights in Middletown to Saturdays at the Shoe, and now all the way to Canton. Now I want you to experience football heaven, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Go to 971thefan.com/gojacket and enter to win a VIP experience to the home of professional football, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Ignite the passion, relive the glory.
Breaking news coming in from Never the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio.
Beloved former basketball coach and educator Satch Sullinger knows you got to keep moving to stay healthy. But that's not so easy when your aching joints won't cooperate.
We still want to move and we still want to get around and we still want to be active, but we start to deteriorate the moment we quit moving.
QC Kinetics regenerative treatments help restore movement in stiff, aching knees, hips, shoulders, and back, using only your natural healing properties to help restore damaged joints. That's a huge positive for Satch.
It's working, and what I really like about it is there's nothing foreign put in my body. Everything that was put in my body has been taken from my body. I love it. I love it. Like I said, I want to live until the day I die.
Get rid of the pain and start moving again. Go to qckinetics.com/Columbus and call QC Kinetics today for your complimentary consultation. 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544. Again, 208-4544. QC Kinetics.
We have a lot of football happening. I'm here to help. Set your radio preset to the Fan. Very good. Now set the second one to ESPN Columbus. It's the HD2 button. Lastly, go to the Fan's HD3 and save the Fan 3. Crisis averted. You're welcome.
Welcome to TGL, presented by SoFi, golf's newest league. It's sharp and it's electric. How is it sharp? How is it electric? Good questions. Try this on for size. 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime, forcing, playoffs on the line, golf. With 24 of the best players from the PGA Tour, split into 6 teams: Atlanta, Boston, Jupiter, LA, New York, and the Bay. This isn't your average Sunday pickup game. Tune in every week for TGL matches, only on ESPN. Keep up. It's golf.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Well, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students.
All your favorite Fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat, because Uncle Bo is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
Buckeye basketball, certainly effort not an issue. Went down to the wire against Michigan on Sunday. Nice to see it on CBS and kind of a time slot that we're accustomed to historically to see the Buckeyes play. It looked like it was pretty damn close to full. It would have been a good one for Jake. It would have been a sweet one for Jake to get a win, to get kind of a signature win late in the season. They got several early in the season. Kentucky win's great. The Purdue win in West Lafayette was really good as well. But this would have been nice to win one at home in front of a big house, and they weren't able to be clutch down the stretch and to be able to do it. We said, fellas, before this stretch started that really 4-1 is kind of what they needed to be in that stretch of games. They've played 4 of the 5 games that we identified, and they're 2-2 in those games. So the best you can be is 3-2. That'll be with a win against Northwestern here. That game is on Thursday night, and then they go the West Coast trip. They go at UCLA on the 23rd, then at USC, and there's only 2 games left. They get Nebraska here on March 4th, and then they're at Indiana on the 8th. That's it. That's the list in terms of this season. Right now, everybody has them still in. They have them not even on the bubble. They have them as a 9 seed, I see, in Lenardi's bracketology that was updated this morning. I do think it's critical for this team to get in. I guess one thing I've got to get used to is the fact that a lot of these teams are going to get in. You're talking right now with Ohio State getting in. They are 10th in the Big Ten in this. Do I have that right? 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 8th, 9th. Yeah, they're 7 and 8 in the league. Will they take a team that is under 500 in its own league? I know they played a very tough non-conference, 15-11 overall. That feels infinitely on the bubble, and it feels like it's something they're going to kind of deal with the rest of the way. Diebler was asked post-game if he can look ahead and map out wins. Obviously, he's going to answer no to that. Here's Jake on that.
This time of year, every game is really important, right? And every game is meaningful. And some can hurt you more than others. Some can help you more than others. But, the most important thing is to give the next game your full attention and focus because you need it. I mean, that's just kind of the way we're approaching it. Certainly, I know the implication, like all that goes into right this time of year in these games, and because we've done some really good things this year, it's every game is really important. So, but that's kind of the approach. I don't think you can look too far. Not in this league. Maybe there's some other leagues out there where you can look out and be like, ooh, okay, we feel really good about this league. Every single game, you can't look ahead. You got to give this next game your absolute best.
Which league do you think he's calling duty?
I don't know.
Was that a shot at the Big 12? Maybe in some leagues you can take a night off.
I thought the same thing. I'm like, well, what league are you talking about, man? Like, what league in the country? Like, the Big Ten hasn't won a national championship in basketball since Michigan State.
Hey, Maryland, they claim.
It's been a long time, man. Like, what league are we throwing stones at there, Jake? Yeah, the Big 12's appointed itself quite well. They got, 5 teams ranked in the top 25, and Kansas is 23rd. I don't know. Is it maybe Big East a little bit?
ACC?
You can't. I mean, they got Duke.
Yeah,
I mean,
Creighton couldn't take the other night off. They lost to Villanova.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know what he's referring to there. I think that one of the things that these coaches do is they act, especially in basketball. Holtman used to do this all the time, too. He used to act like the Big Ten was, this behemoth of a conference that anybody, and everybody, I guess one part is true. Everybody can beat everybody, but it's not. It's not that great. It's not the best basketball conference in America. It's just not. So here's the thing for them. I found that funny as well. I was wondering who he was talking about. For this team this year, it's just get to the damn dance. It's really important that they get to the dance. And if they stay where they are now as a 9 and they're playing against UConn, and then if you win, you get to play Duke, that's probably a one-and-done situation. I don't know if anybody expect a whole lot more out of that, but they got to get in. They have to have that experience. It's been too damn long. They've got to get in. They played an ambitious schedule. They had a great start to the season. They got quality wins. They have got to get in. And I think you got to be – I think you have to be right at 500 in the Big Ten. So you're talking about Northwestern, UCLA, USC, Indiana, and Nebraska. You're one game under 500 right now. So you win against Northwestern, you split the last 4, you're 500, and I think you get in with that. That's probably good enough to be able to do it.
They're going to be bubblicious until March 8th.
That's what this program is, bud. This program has been a bubble program for a decade.
And barring a Big Ten tournament run, I think this is about build for next year.
Can you do that?
I don't know.
Like, who even knows who knows who's coming back?
I was saying, if Aaron Bradshaw asks for a raise, you tell him there is the door.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who's coming back. I think almost in college basketball, you're starting over the next year. You start over 1 through 12, kind of.
Bo, I've had this feeling all year, and I remember watching the game when it happened, and I remember thinking, man, this loss to Pitt is going to somehow bite this team. And then I go back to the 3-game stretch where you had a big lead against Oregon and you let it get away, and you played Wisconsin so close and you lose late, and then you lose by 1 to Indiana, and it's like, man,
Nebraska.
These games are going to cost you. Yeah. And it sure seems like they're still okay. Obviously, it depends on how these next 5 games go. But, gosh, if you win at least 2 of those 4 games, you're sitting really pretty right now.
Yeah. Conversely, the Buckeye women, nice win yesterday over Iowa. They get it in overtime, handle business on that side of things. It was good to get a little bounce back after what happened out on the West Coast last weekend. What I find odd is they're the number 8 team in the country, and the projections have them as a 4 seed? How does that make any sense? If you're 8th in the country, shouldn't you be a 2 or a 3? I never understand that about women's seeding. The number 8 team in the country should be a 2 or a 3, not a 4. That should be the team ranked 16th. It's just simple math. Went to state school, but I think I can handle that.
It checks out. Right now they're 3rd in the Big Ten, so I have no idea.
Yeah, it's strange.
Feels like projections this time of the year, because they had that 12. It was 12:30 Saturday. They did their first 16 in.
Yeah.
Bubba Cunningham. Is that the guy's name?
Sure.
The selection committee was on with Clark and the guys on CBS, and they were doing 16 seeds, and 2 of them were from Alabama. It's like, well, they play each other this afternoon, so that could change in 2 hours.
I think where the women's team might be getting hurt a little bit this year with at least the NCAA projections is they have a great record, and their 3 losses are to, they had the bad loss against Penn State, but then they lost recently to UCLA and USC, who are both 2 of the top teams in the country. But outside of that, they don't have a lot of top 25 wins. They had a big win against Maryland earlier this year. Illinois at the time was a team, and Michigan were right on the edge of the top 25, but they don't have, this Buckeye women's team doesn't have a lot of really big wins.
Yeah, they get that. Yeah, and that's probably it. I'm sure it's strength of schedule is the reason, but we'll see how it goes there. They will be in. The men have some work to do right now and just kind of on that bubble. I think for the next couple of weeks is kind of going to be where they're at. Second hour of the program coming up next. Uncle Dom going to drop by at 10:30. We'll hit the real truth coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
Question from a listener: do you dopes ever get tired of talking about Ohio State? No. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
Factory direct is really pretty simple. The factory sells it directly to the consumer. I mean, we build it. There's nothing that anybody else does. We have stations where everybody touches the window. Everyone sees what's going on. So if there's an issue, we catch it as it's going down the line. That's probably the biggest thing, is the ability to make sure what goes out the door is what I want to go out the door.
Visit Rosati Windows by the end of this month and get 35% off all windows and doors.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
At NJM Insurance, we're like a symphony. It all starts by doing the right thing. Add in dedicated reps and put policyholders first. But no jingles or mascots because it's just not us. Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
Hey, it's Anthony. I got to tell you, when you don't have the support you need, it affects everything. Feet, knees, hips, back, even your mood. I finally went to the Good Feet store, and once I was personally fitted for my arch supports, I felt a ton better. I will never wear another pair of shoes again without sliding in my personally fit Good Feet arch supports. That's because they help me eliminate my foot pain. It's such a good feeling knowing that I can be on my feet and not worrying about I'm going to wake up with low back pain or feel a weakness somewhere. I trust the Good Feet store because for more than 30 years, they've helped thousands of people just like me get back to feeling comfort on a daily basis. They take pleasure in that, and it's their personal 3-step system designed to support, balance, and strengthen your feet that guides them into their ideal position. I'm the proof. I wear them every day, even when I'm biking at the gym. So go in, take the free test walk at the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway and on Stringtown Road in Grove City or goodfeet.com.
ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus is the place to be for all the basketball action. Watch every game at once with over 50 feet of video wall and more than 30 TVs. Endless chances to win big. Show off your jump shot on our King of the Court drawings or create your perfect bracket for a shot at 10 cash. Enjoy food and bucket specials all tournament long. Guarantee your spot. Reserve a table now at HollywoodColumbus.com. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
How'd you like to wipe out all that credit card debt to start the new year off right? Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Stop getting fleeced by the credit card companies. If you own your home, go to AFLcash.com now. Advantage First Lending can help you unlock that equity and get you tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's AFLcash.com. You can pay off all your credit cards and other high-interest debt super fast. Consolidate all your bills into one low monthly payment. AFLcash.com can help you tap into your home's equity to give you some serious cash so you can go into 2025 with less stress and more confidence. Get the cash you need from Advantage First Lending now. Most homeowners don't even need an appraisal. How great is that? Get on solid financial footing. Go to AFLcash.com. That's AFLcash.com or call 844-394-CASH. 844-394-CASH.
Equal Housing Lender. NMLS 1209177. Subject to lender approval. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. Today, you're going to pay down your credit card bill. But you decide when you'll pay it. Before the due date, so those interest charges don't get you. But you decide if you pay it in full. But you definitely should, because again, interest charges. With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
A great lawn is like a great sports team. It takes expertise and a little extra care to really stand out. That's where True Green comes in. They're the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour, so they know a thing or two about keeping grass looking like a fairway. It's more affordable than you think, and they'll even match any competitor's price. Plus, True Green backs it all up with a satisfaction guarantee. Head to TrueGreen.com today. Let the pros do the work while you sit back and enjoy the results.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon.
Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus, 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter.
Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reese. Sir, between now and 4 p.m., NFL teams can use the franchise tag on players they'd like to keep in 2025. That could include Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins, who Cincinnati could tag and give both sides until July 15th to come to terms on a new contract. The Bengals are reportedly interested in retaining Higgins and giving Jamar Chase an extension in the same offseason. Trey Hendrickson's entering the final year of his contract with the club. The 30-year-old Hendrickson led the NFL with 17.5 sacks in 2024. The new league year begins Wednesday, March 12th. In hockey, Team USA and Team Canada will meet again in the Four Nations face-off final Thursday night at the TD Garden in Boston. Jackets defenseman Zach Werenski had 5 assists in 3 games for the Americans. The Blue Jackets are back from the break this Saturday, hosting the Chicago Blackhawks. This update sponsored by Germain Toyota, the best selection of new and used cars in Central Ohio. View their full selection of vehicles online at germaintoyota.net.
Our top men are working on everything except this show.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour here on a Tuesday edition of the program. Uncle Dom coming up in 30 minutes. Time for The Real Truth. Hit it, fellas.
Bishop and Friends present The Real Truth.
Sponsored by Diamond Cellar. Over 76 years of experience and guaranteed lowest prices on Sawmill Road or diamondcellar.com.
Barring injury, Julian Sain will be the starting quarterback at Ohio State in 2025. Is that the real truth?
Yeah, I think it is. I think he wowed him last spring. I think he wowed him in fall camp. I think obviously they want him to earn it on the field, because one thing that Chip Kelly, I'll never forget this, he said last year, and it's something that is true no matter the level you are at, you cannot fool the room. And so he's going to have to earn it on the field. But I think there's a great deal of faith in what he can be as a thrower of the football, as a leader, all of those things. The other two are really talented, too. This is not to slight Lincoln Keenholz, and certainly not Tavian St. Clair, who has a very, very bright future here. Lincoln probably would, too. And if something happens to Julian, be ready, and your number will be called. But no, I think that there's enough writing on the wall, despite what Coach today said to Dom, to lead you and me certainly to believe that they've got a guy in the room, and it's going to be Sain.
Yeah, this is probably the real truth. We just talked about it a little bit ago. Ryan says it's an open competition. It's probably about 75-25% open competition, maybe a little less than that, maybe even like 80-20. I don't know. I think Lincoln does have a small shot. And listen, Tavian St. Clair has some traits. I know DeVere Posey saw him in person and loves the bounce, he called it, to Tavian St. Clair's game. But yeah, all signs point to this is Julian Sain's job next year.
Team USA will win the Four Nations face-off. Is that the real truth?
Am I going to be deported if I say no? Ice around the corner? It could be. Well, I guess I wouldn't be deported. They're going to be the 51st state, so it doesn't even matter.
Well, they have to win Thursday, I think, is that they're fighting is how this is going, yeah.
They're fighting for statehood or not. I got to tell you, I don't think so. And it's just history leads me to believe not. It just feels so on brand for USA Hockey to win the preliminary round and then Canada to win the one in the final. I think it's going to be a classic. Obviously, you're bleeding red, white, and blue, and you hope that they can pull it off for Z and everybody. That's just so much firepower with Canada, and I think we got them on their heels in the opener, and I think they'll be a little bit more prepared for that. Obviously, I hope we win. That'd be amazing to win it, and it'll be a monster audience. This is why they did it, was to get USA Canada in the final. And so you've done that. To me, it just feels like when it comes to it, it feels like Canada kinds of owns us. Maybe it's just my muscle memory on it. Maybe that doesn't even back up factually, but it feels like when it comes time to playing for the medal or the championship, Canada takes care of business against us.
I think there's a couple caveats in this. Like, how is Matthew Tkachuk and Brady Tkachuk going to be? What is Austin Matthews' status and Charlie McAvoy's status? I mean, those are huge things here. If the United States can stay out of the penalty box and keep that dominant number one power play of Canada off of the ice, then that gives the United States a great chance. I'll go back to the two things I said before this tournament, Bo.
Yeah.
The United States have a huge, huge advantage over Canada in goal. And the United States defensive core is so deep. I wasn't super familiar with Brock Faber of the Minnesota Wild's game. He's been fantastic in this tournament, I thought defensively he has been so good, especially for a young defenseman. So I think those two things right there, I think those two things are in the favor of the United States. I think they do win because of the goaltending and defense.
Do I have that right, or is it just am I just remembering the Vancouver World Olympics with the Iginla winner? Is that just in my head? Like, I felt like...
Well, I mean, I think you're right, because Canada has dominated all of this stuff for so long. I mean, they were 26-0 until they lost to the United States in Crosby's last 26 international games.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they've been dominant, but this is such a deep... I don't know if the U.S. has ever had a deep team deeper than this one.
Probably not.
I'm seeing a video on social media of Brady Tkachuk just bullying hockey players through 3 games in this Four Nations face-off. The physicality of this American squad, I think, is the difference. This is absolutely the real truth.
You love those guys if they're on your squad. You hate them if they're not.
If you're, The NBA will have a country versus country tournament instead of an all-star game soon. Is that the real truth?
All right, they won't, because you can't. Here's the thing that you'd have to do this, and you would have to have. It couldn't be country versus country. It'd have to be the world against the United States. Is what it would have to be. So the problem is in selecting the All-Stars, you'd have to pick 12 international players and 12 American players. Here's the other secret: we would definitely lose that. Like, if you got Luka and Jokic and Giannis, like, that's not trending well for us on that side of things. So, like, if they can pick the rest of the world, we're in trouble. I think it's not going to happen because of what I said. I think the only thing that they can hope for is that once this generation that AAU'd the NBA, this LeBron generation, once these guys retire and move on, you have to hope that the young bloods that are coming up have a little bit of pride east-west. I think that's the best you can hope for. I think it would work, and I think it would have interest. I just don't know that the NBA... I don't know how you would do it from a selection standpoint. The ballot would have to be, like, international and American, and you'd have to pick the 12 of each. I guess they could do it. But, no, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know that there is any saving it.
So we have no more traditions in sports. So who cares about a selection process? And just pick the team. Say, hey, have do like the Four Nations have done. Have general managers for each team. Have one of the GMs assigned to one side, a GM to the other, and have them pick the 12 or 15 best players, however you want to do it, and go play a game or do something. Like I think that the NHL has had so much success from that and from this Four Nations, and you're already hearing whispers about it with the NBA. I think it will happen soon, just to try to draw eyeballs, and I think it'll be a good thing.
The NBA doesn't currently have a face. Is that the real truth?
No, I don't think they have a young face. I think the face of the NBA is Steph and LeBron still. And LeBron's in year 20 plus. Steph is in his late 30s, mid to late 30s. So I just think that the next generation, they don't have. And I think it is hard to be the face of the NBA if you're an international player. Because the guys who are next, it's Wemby. I mean, certainly the guys who are immediately next are Giannis and Jokic and Luka, all European. Wemby, European. I'm sure the NBA is praying like hell that it's Cooper Flagg, that he's got next and he can be the face. You keep waiting. I think a lot of people thought Ja Morant could be, but that was derailed. Anthony Edwards was somebody who certainly has a lot of juice with the kids, but you have to win at the highest level to do so, and they kind of butchered that team with the trade of Towns. So I don't know that they can get there. I think they have a face. I think the problem is their faces are old.
Yeah, they do have a face, and like you said, Bo, it's LeBron James still. Yeah. Now, it sure seemed like last season, Anthony Edwards had a lot of momentum to be that next face. I feel like I haven't heard about him much this year. You heard about him all the time last year, but you haven't heard much this year. I don't know about the international player, but Luka being on the Lakers, if he can continue what he kind of did last year and willing the Mavericks to the NBA Finals, if he can have that same kind of effort and do that with the Lakers, especially while LeBron is still there and have all those eyeballs on him, I think Luka's got a pretty good chance to be next.
Finally, Jim Tressel will be the next governor of the great state of Ohio. Is that the real truth?
I don't think so. I don't think he wants it. Right? Does it feel like it's going to be Husted? Like he's a senator now, and it feels like he's going to be the senator, and then he'll come back and run for governor? Or is Vivek running?
So there's talk of both. I don't think anything's been made official yet.
I mean, if Tressel runs, he wins by a landslide, right?
That's been the talk since he was sworn in yesterday as lieutenant governor. He runs in this race. He crushes everybody.
What is Jim Tressel's why?
Why not?
I don't know. Does he want to be governor? Maybe.
I mean, this feels like the real truth, right? I mean, ever since he was the head ball coach here, he was nicknamed the senator, and everything he did, the way he always presented himself seemed like a classic old school politician. Now, we don't really have that anymore, so it would be nice to have something like that. There's nothing that turns me off more than politics.
Yeah.
Jim Tressel's 73, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah.
Like,
and
why
when's DeWine? It's 26.
The next year's is last year, I think.
Why do all these politicians have to be Walmart greeter age? Like, can't we get a 50-year-old that can be buttoned up and do this stuff?
The short answer is our best and brightest don't want to do it anymore. They're running tech companies. Like they don't want the headache. They don't want to go do it. So it's old people. It's what it's going to be. You need that next generation. Those 30, 40-year-olds that are that age now, you need those guys to do it. And I suppose, Vance would be the next guy up on the Republican side. I don't know who the Dems throw next time out at president.
I'm on the Wikipedia page for the 2026 Ohio gubernatorial election, and under potential is Jim Tressel.
There you go. If it's on Wiki, it's got to be right. I mean, I guess it's just a matter of does he want to do it?
I just edited it. Yeah.
Yeah. If he wants to do it.
It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. If he wants to do it, I think he'll have a great chance. All right. The Bengals want to bring everybody back. Well, yeah, of course they do. We'll get into that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you consider yourself a Buckeye fan, you've come to the right place. This is your heritage sports talker and home of Ohio State Athletics, The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
Next on Metro's Nada Yada Island podcast.
I almost fainted when the 4 new bombshells arrived. 4 free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G phones at Metro.
No way.
And finding out the 4th line is free. Oh, things got heated.
That's wild. Join Metro and get 4 free Samsung 5G phones. Only at Metro.
Plus tax. Bring 4 numbers and an ID and sign up for any Metro Flex plan. Not available currently at T-Mobile or been with Metro in the past 180 days.
Save a good deal more at Meijer with bulk Gala, Fuji, or Pink Lady apples, just 99 cents a pound. Plus, during the 7 for $7 sale, you pay $1 each when you mix or match any 7 or more on participating items, like Meijer frozen vegetables, Bush's beans, Red Gold canned tomatoes, Meijer facial tissue, and Powerade sports drink. Getting more for your money with the Meijer 7 for $7 sale. Now that's the good life. Exclusions apply. See all deals in-store or in the Meijer app.
This is Hall of Famer number 275, Chris Carter. Buckeye born and bred. Ohio has been a huge part of my football career. From Friday nights in Middletown to Saturdays at the Shoe. And now all the way to Canton. Now I want you to experience football heaven, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Go to 971thefan.com/Go Jacket and enter to win a VIP experience to the home of professional football, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Ignite the passion, relive the glory.
I'm an old school Joe, and my philosophy is real simple and effective. It's not what you win or lose, it's what you save. And betting reduced juice at Prime Sports Ohio is the way to save money on every single bet. Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Use promo code JUSTSPORTS. Get a welcome bonus up to $100 and be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Oh, by the way, Ivan's no longer on the project. His wife got a new job, so they're moving across the country.
Robin's top researcher is deviating to a new market. This isn't standard.
And now we're short-staffed. Who's going to finish all these projects?
She needs a cluster of new data analysts, and there's no margin for error.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome, John, our new admin lead.
Thanks.
You've got your laptop, all your admin apps. Oh, and you'll be in charge of ordering food for the team. So here's your drawer full of menus.
Whoa.
You'll keep your receipts in this file folder. Whoops, receipt confetti.
Oh, dear.
Oh, and all these sticky notes have everyone's dietary preferences.
Have you tried Easy Cater? Online ordering from great restaurants, tools to save time and stay on budget, digital receipts in one place.
We're gonna need a bigger recycling bin.
Easy Cater, the smarter, simpler way to order food for your workplace. Order now at easycater.com.
Morning Juice.
I'm laying in bed last night. Meredith and I are talking. She's like, yeah, right. I'm like, it was just a tough day. I'm not going to lie to you. It was a tough day yesterday, but today's a new day.
Morning Juice is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Weekday mornings at 6. The Fan.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Hi, the Scott Antique Markets are back again at the Ohio Expo Center, featuring hundreds of vendors with collectibles and merchandise from all over the world. The market is one weekend monthly, November through March. Build your family heirlooms. You can find everything that gets old. Just take I-71 to exit 111 to enjoy America's favorite treasure hunt. Visit thescottantiquemarket.com for more information. Come join us at the Ohio Expo Center for the Scott Antique Markets. It's huge. It's the Scott Antique Markets this weekend.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
It is cold out there today. Temperatures will be warming up to the upper teens. The wind, though, will make it feel like only around 6 to 8 degrees this afternoon. Tonight, we drop down to 11 for the nighttime low. Cloudy tomorrow with a high of 21. Thursday, a little bit of light snow with a high of 23. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
We're your radio home for the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. We may have a bit of a football problem. Oh, yeah? The Fan, Ohio sports destination. If you love a good pie analogy,
think of the cap as a pie, and once you take out one piece, there's less left for the next guy.
Then this is the radio show for you. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
How appropriate that was the bump back there. It's your Uncle Bo here. Proud to tell you about my friends at Diamond Cellar. It's a good one because Diamond Cellar's wedding weekend is back. Mark your calendars. It is this weekend, February 21st, 22nd. Incredible offers. You're not going to want to miss them. Join them for buy one, get half off wedding bands, 20% off diamond anniversary bands, and special no-interest financing on engagement rings. They've had the guaranteed best price for over 78 years. So choose a jeweler you can trust. Go see them February 21st and 22nd for the wedding weekend at Diamond Cellar at Sawmill Road or Easton Town Center. Tell them Bo sent you. They are the best. 78 years, man. That's getting it done. All right, so we had Mike Brown in the bump back there. So Bake made me aware of this story yesterday. He sent on a group text about how the Bengals are going to attempt to bring everybody back. Now, I think this is a response to Joe Burrow anytime he is in front of a mic saying, I want everybody back. And I know you can do it. He's been on Pardon My Take. He's been on Dan Patrick. He's been on everybody around Super Bowl week had Burrow on, and the one topic of conversation that he never shied away from while he was in front of a microphone was, I want everybody back. Okay, I think this is the Bengals answering that with, we want everybody back too. Now, can they actually do it? How do they navigate it? There is talk that they will franchise tag T. Higgins. Reese, when is the deadline for that?
4 o'clock today.
Okay, so my guess is they franchise him. Because that'll do is it'll allow for this will be the second franchise for him, too. Second franchise tag for Higgins. So you'll get your second franchise tag for Higgins. That gives them until the middle of the summer to work out a long-term extension for Higgins. That will give them take a little bit of pressure off in that instance. Then they got to deal with Trey Hendrickson, and then on top of that, they got to deal with Jamar Chase. How this gets done is anyone's guess. What I don't understand about this is, and this is just going to be something that would be very different for them, are they willing to do what the Browns have done? Are they willing with Burrow to transfer his money into signing bonus, kick it to the end of the contract in an effort to make this work? Are they able? They cry poor all the time that they aren't liquid, that they don't have an ability to do that. Will they go outside their comfort zone and do it because it's what their franchise quarterback wants? That's kind of where they're at. To me, when I see this story, it felt like a public response to the most important player, maybe in franchise history, saying, I want to be here and I need these guys here with me. I know there's a way to do it. Figure it out. That's the only way I read it.
It was funny. He, on Pardon My Take, used the Philadelphia Eagles as the team. Well, they can figure it out. Why can't you?
Yeah.
And sure, that sounds great. I know you look at the contracts that Philadelphia's got with their guys making more than $50 million, and there's several of them. The Bengals, I think it's just Burrow and Orlando Brown. Mm-hmm. And while you look at that and you say, okay, one team can do it, why can't this other team? And I don't know if it's not, they don't want to. Maybe it's the Philadelphia Eagles are more willing to do it. And Cincinnati Bengals, they just don't want to part ways with the money that they've made from being NFL owners. But for Joe Burrow, this looks to be easier than you're making it. And I don't know if there's ever one, if it's easy, because if it's easy, everybody would be doing it the way the Philadelphia Eagles have done it.
You can do it. You just have to be willing to write big checks. And then you have to be willing to potentially get into the spot that the Browns are in now, which is inevitably you have to pay the price for those checks that you write. So the reason, and this is something so we're abundantly clear, trading Myles Garrett, and which is something the Browns do not want to do, but even if they wanted to trade Myles Garrett, would be incredibly difficult because of the cap hit that it would, the penalty it would be on them. So when you redo these contracts and you transfer, contracts into the signing bonuses and redo them, when you do that, you're kicking the penalty down the road. Eventually, you have to pay the piper on that. But what you're banking on is that the cap goes up and up and up and up, and by the time you pay the piper, it will be less of a penalty. So what the reason that the Browns would have such a hard time trading Myles is it would be incredibly punitive to them financially from a cap standpoint to do so. And so if the Bengals are going to do, they can do this. You can do it. They just have to redo Burrow's contract, write him a check for a ton of money, probably upwards of 80 million. I mean, I'm just guessing 80, 90 million right now. In order to do that, because then this goes back to Modell when he was running the Browns 30 years ago, you have to be able to have that liquid in escrow.
Do they have 80 million to just here?
They say they don't. Do people believe them? How could they not? They cry poor all the time.
All the time. It's notorious how bad they've been able to, or how the situations they put themselves in. It's coming to roost at this point where you don't have any faith that they're A, being honest, or B, being responsible.
I know they don't have. Their wealth is from owning the Cincinnati Bengals. It's not from another entity. So I do think it's fair to assume that they're not Scrooge McDuck swimming in gold coins. But I also have a hard time believing that they aren't liquid enough that they could pull this off. And quite honestly, if they're not, then they owe it to their franchise, they owe it to their fans, they owe it to Joe Burrow to bring on minority ownership, sell 10% of the team, 20% of the team for $500 million cash, and use that. I mean, it was put in for teams like these guys. That rule just changed where you could take on minority investors, hedge funds, all of that.
Tom Brady.
Now's your time. Well, even more so than Tom Brady, Reese, the guys who bought 20% of the Raiders from Mark Davis.
Yeah.
The venture capital group. They owe it to Bengals fans. They owe it to Burrow to do whatever they can do to keep this group together. And if that means, and Joe has said, I'm willing to redo his deal. Even the one thing that did bug me about what he said, and very few things Joe does bug me, but when he said take less, you wouldn't have taken less. So why would everybody else? You reset the market when you did your deal. Why would Jamar not want to reset the market when he did his? Why would T not want to make $30 million a year? Why would Trey Hendrickson not want to make $30 million a year? So if you're not going to do it yourself, then you can't have others do it. And I saw that on the PMT take. But look, I think they owe it to their fans, their franchise. If they're not liquid enough to be able to pull something like this off, then bring on minority owners, which is something I know they've never had an interest in doing. Bring on minority owners and get it done. You got to get it done. It's a tough road to hoe, though, to be able to do it.
Any other ownership, you'd have faith that if it was something this important, they'd be able to do it. But I just have zero faith that Mike Brown wants to, A, bring in someone else to have some semblance of control, and B, part ways with that kind of money immediately for Joe Burrow so that you can free up the pie.
I think it's fair. But history would say you're right on that. 2 minutes from now, Dom Tiberi, Tuesdays with Tiberi, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan. Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. As football winds down, college basketball is gearing up, and fans are ready to see which teams will prove they are ready to shine in March and who will be seen in San Antonio. You can get on all the action from tip-off to the final whistle at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Right now, new ESPN Bet Sportsbook customers can bet $10 and get $100 back in bonus bets and unlock 30 days of ESPN Plus. Download the app. Sign up with the promo code Radio100 to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Bring the thrill of the stadium to your wallet with the Love My Crew checking account from Pathways, the only checking account that rewards you for being a Crew fan. Pathways Financial Credit Union, your true financial partner. Federally insured by NCUA.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon. Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter. Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
Say yes to Diamond Seller's Wedding Weekend on February 21st and 22nd. Enjoy buy one, get one half off wedding bands, 20% off diamond anniversary bands, and special no interest financing on engagement rings. Visit us in store and learn more at diamondseller.com.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Bishop and Friends present Tuesdays with Tiberi.
All right, time to down on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Conversation with Uncle Dom on a Tuesday. True or false, this has been the worst winter in the history of Ohio?
I will say this. I had to clean my wife's car today.
Okay.
She has an appointment, and so she said, will you get the ice off of it?
Sure.
So I went and started it. You know how you can start it remotely, and then I restarted it again, and then I went out, and the ice, it was like it was buried in ice. I was out there. I have frostbitten parts of my body we won't even discuss. Everything, I mean, it is 14 degrees out there. What in the world?
I think this is it.
Soccer. The Crew are open Saturday. That means spring is here, right?
Oh my God, that's right.
What are we doing?
I don't know. We were supposed to get out of town. I'm about broken by it. I'm going to be honest with you. This is always a tough time of year for me anyway.
February is a tough month.
It's brutal.
We talk about it, but it's still the winter, and February is normally the worst month for this garbage.
It is. And I don't recall. I mean, it's just been so cold for so long.
Well, and you're a little bit further north than us.
Yeah.
You get that wonderful lakefront snow.
We don't get too much of that, but it's just, this was it. I was thinking about it. I was talking to my wife about it, and I said, I think this is the worst winter we've had. I've been in Ohio since 2007. I think this is the worst one we've had.
It's just been cold. Not a lot of snow, but it's just been cold.
Just cold.
And the good news is I'm now, I'm used to not seeing the sun. Today the sun's out, and it's
that helps.
Oh, look, that's nice. The sun. We don't see it, but every 3 weeks. But, you get used to living we're like living in a dome for 4 months out of the year where you don't see the sun. It's gloomy. It's cold. And for a lot of those months, you have Buckeye football. Now you don't have that. But now we're going to have America's hardest working team, which will be without two of their big players. But we'll see what they do.
Yeah, that's a long season, man. What are you into right now? No football. So you got your Crew. They're dropping. I know you know Bobby Varziha and Rob McCullers. So, you know that. So
I personally know Bobby Varziha. They called him the Polish Rifle. Let me just tell you that much. And secondly, I love this time of the year because everything's going. Football just ended. You got baseball. I've been, your hot stove and all that's getting ready to. They're at spring training. Coming up.
They're going.
And you got that going, and you got hockey, the halfway point of the season, right? I guess.
What do you think of this Four Nations thing?
I don't know. I don't understand it. I mean, I think it's neat, but I mean, I don't understand. You're either going to have an all-star game or you're going to do this. What are you going to do? You know what I mean?
I think this is better. I just think it's an incredible risk.
Yeah, you're going to get someone hurt in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like soccer does this. That okay, we're in the middle of the season, but now we're going to play in this tournament, and I don't understand. It'd be like the Ohio State football team. They're going to play and now we're going to go to Europe and we're going to play this team in this tournament, and you wouldn't do that. I don't know. I don't get. I mean, it's neat, but is it worth the risk? I mean,
I don't know. It'd be like if something, God forbid, were to happen to Werenski, and you'd be like, what are we doing? What we just made up a tournament that we're playing? Now people are watching it, and anytime USA Canada plays, that's a win.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it'll rate incredibly well on Thursday night, juxtaposed to the rest of what the NHL would deliver or an All-Star game. But there is tremendous risk that comes with this, and
they're fighting. They're actually fighting. They had they were like three fights in right 30 seconds. I mean, what are we doing? And you get hurt and. You're a playoff team, and your star player's hurt because he got hurt in this thing. How much was it worth? But, I mean, I think the players wanted this, right?
Oh, yeah. And I think the idea, they want to play in the Olympics. So this is a way for, I think I have this right, where every 2 years there will be an international competition like this where you play for country. So I think there's
let
value.
them play in the Olympics. I mean,
they are.
I mean, let them do that. But this, I mean, I just don't. You're absolutely right. But there's a lot of risk in life now. I mean, I was debating the other day, and I still say I think, like in football, college football, I think the conference championships have gone their way. Now I understand why they want to keep them, but why would you play a 12-game regular season and then potentially a 5-game playoff and have someone get hurt in a conference title game that really made no difference to any of the teams that played in them this year? And I think Ohio State actually got a break not playing in it.
Well, you saw those poor saps at Oregon, like celebrating their Big Ten championship at the basketball game last week.
Yeah, great.
Dan Lanning. Okay, great. Good. Congratulations.
Yeah, great.
I mean, I guess. I
mean, it's a moneymaker, but
couldn't they just make that same money if they just expanded it to 16 and just made that?
Well, my question is this: how long will it be a moneymaker? Now, TV, it'll be a TV. People will watch it, but. How many fans are going to go to it when you've got, right around the corner, a potential 4 or 5 game playoff run where, and a lot of the fans want to go see that. I think
they have to be very careful. I think college football, I know they're meeting, SEC and Big Ten are going to decide kind of the future of this thing this week.
And they should.
They should. But they also have to be very careful to not bite off more than they can chew. Right. Money's great, and you want to make more of it, but you also do not want to live in a world, and I saw this, they have the college football playoff championship game, I want to say in 27, Donnie.
Right.
Like January 27th. You do not want to go and try and swim in the waters with the NFL in January.
No.
You got to be done. You can't go head-to-head. I mean, those games, a lot of those games will be taking place in closets, pal. You can't, from an attention standpoint, compete with the NFL.
Well, and they've got to figure it out, and let me just say this. We are seeing, in my opinion, with the NIL, you are seeing a transfer of power big time to the northern schools.
Yeah,
I think that the SEC, their days of the dominance, while I think they're still going to be very good, but I think the northern schools and the schools that have the let's face it, the money.
Yeah,
I mean you think about the Civil War. And the North had, right or wrong.
No, manufacturing economy always beats an agricultural economy. It's undefeated.
I'm sorry, that's the way it was. And
I did watch Landman, though, and it seems like oil's pretty good. So my hunch is if you're a school in Texas,
Texas.
Okay.
I think Texas is going to become a powerhouse because. Yeah. But think about this. Look at what the businesses that are in the North. I mean, look at what we have in Columbus, Ohio. Look what is around Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Yeah,
they got a guy that gave them $10 million for their quarterback.
Yeah,
I just think that the northern schools, I think we're seeing the tide has changed, and it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out.
No, I agree, and I think that the top of the sport it will be that way. I think it'll be new powers in the South. I think it'll be Texas and Texas A&M and Oklahoma.
Yeah,
and
I agree, 100%.
It'll be the oil ones. Did you watch Landman?
What is that?
Oh my God! You loved Yellowstone, right?
Oh, I've been. They just had the President's Day marathon. I watched it again, and I'll tell you that Dutton. Don't mess with that guy.
Well, quite the operation.
He got shot 82 times and went and rode his horse every day. You know how he healed? He went and rode his horse.
It's all you do. It's all you did. My dad got bucked off last fall. First time in like a decade he got bucked off, and he had like broken ribs or something. I don't know. And like 2 days later, he was back on a horse. I'm like, what are you doing?
Let me tell you what. Have you ever broken any ribs?
Not knowingly.
I did. I don't know if I ever told you this story. So we went down to Hilton Head, the whole family, and little Dom was like 19 at the time. He's in college. And we were screwing around in the hotel room, and I said, all right, boy, you want to wrestle? Perhaps the dumbest thing I ever said.
Why would you do that?
Well,
that's when you were wrestling Jim Hurt.
Well, whatever.
In the control room.
Anyways.
You can't do that.
So we're in a nice condo, high rise, and, there's not much give on those floors. They got carpet, but it's concrete.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, see if you can pin me, son. Come on, go ahead. And he's trying. And I was going to do a switch for you wrestlers out there. You know what it was. I was going to do this move. And I tried to move, and Junior hit me at the right time and came down on my side. And all of a sudden, I just heard this cracking noise. And I said, okay, timeout, stop, we're done, something. And I just thought maybe, you know, I don't know what it was. Well, I woke up at 4 a.m. in bed, and I told my wife, I said, I need to go to the hospital. I can't breathe.
Oh, God.
If you've ever busted ribs, it's the worst thing. I went to the doctor at this urgent care because that's what they had, and the guy's looking at me, goes, you did what? I said, it sounded like a good idea at the time. He goes, sir, how old are you? And I was like 50-something. And he goes, sir, you're 50. It's time that you don't wrestle your 19-year-old son.
Knowing you at that time, that would have been. I would have been at Channel 10 at that time.
Yeah.
There's no question that you would have. What you said to little Dommy was, I want you to mount me, is what you would have said. Because that was the prime of, you were trying to wrestle everybody.
Well,
everything was a feat of strength. You were trying to wrestle everybody.
Well, yeah.
And that's what happens.
Yeah. Well, now I have learned my lesson.
Hey, real quick, I'll get you out of here on this.
Yes.
Do you believe Ryan Day? We played your interview with him. It's on 10 TV Plus.
Yes and no. I know. I heard you, and here's what I would say: yes and no. Here's the deal. All of these guys are highly, highly, highly recruited athletes, and I agree 100% with what you said. Ohio State does not get any second-tier players. These guys are all elite. I think if I had to do a pecking order, I would agree with you. I think Julian Sayin is the next man up. But I'm just saying this, and I've been around here a while, and I've seen weirder things happen. Like this guy named Joe Germain, who no one thought was going to play, and all of a sudden, here he is, Craig Krenzel. I think Sayin's the guy, but I doubt that Tavian can do it. I saw him play in high school. He's very talented. Weirder things have happened. He's getting in. Let's see. But all three of these guys have rifles for arms. They can throw the football. I'm just saying I think Lincoln might have a better shot than we're giving him.
I know Ryan loved him.
Yeah,
I mean, I know he loves him.
I mean,
so
Ryan
he's going to get a real shot. Yeah.
Ryan handpicked that guy and brought him here, and I know a lot of people have casted doubt on that kid because he got thrown into a really tough situation 2 years ago at the Cotton Bowl, and he was nowhere ready to play and got thrown into that and kind of thrown to the wolves. You need to forget about all that. That was like taking a kid off the street and throwing him into the wolves.
Yeah.
And I think that this kid has developed. I've watched him throw the ball. I love the way he throws. And I'll just say this, weirder things have happened. And weirder things have happened in college football, Bo. Who would have ever guessed that a guy named Tom Brady, who barely could get on the field at Ann Arbor, would become the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL? Did you see that coming when he was drafted in, the 6th round?
No, I don't think.
And so weird things have happened. I think Sayin has the inside track, but I do believe, Ryan, that he's going to give all three of these guys a shot this spring, and especially Lincoln, because I know he likes Lincoln a lot.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for your time.
See you, buddy. Bye-bye.
All right, there it goes. Little Tuesdays with Tiberi on the Bryan Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Weird Thing or Not a Thing. Up next, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Imagine all the things you dream of under one roof. You're thinking of eBay. Fashion, collectibles, car parts, it's all there. Go find the thing that keeps you up at night. eBay. Things people love.
The Ohio State Coaches Daily Show is brought to you locally on The Fan by Credit Union of Ohio.
The Jake Diebler Daily Show brought to you by Encova Insurance. Something you talked about after Sunday's game with Michigan is the idea of a protected rivalry. I know it's something that you and Coach May have both talked about. If you would kind of reveal a little bit of how that discussion's gone.
Yeah, we're both in support of making the Ohio State versus Michigan game one that happens in Columbus and Ann Arbor every year. It's complicated. There's a lot that goes into scheduling in the Big Ten with all the teams we have, but with both of us behind it, hopefully we can get some traction and get it done.
Okay, we'll have another comment in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Now, the officials have been talking for quite some time.
All righty, let's see what they have to say.
Upon further review, there is no penalty on the play. However, we have conferred and discovered that Bob, the line judge, has saved a boatload for his kids' college using Ohio's 529 plan. It is tax-free, accepted nationwide. Bob recommends we all go to collegeadvantage.com. First down.
Well, that's not entirely unexpected.
Classic Bob.
At Ohio State, we are the never afraid to innovate teams and the improve people's lives teams. Together, we are the Ohio State University.
Jake, you've talked about when the coaches have gotten together in the Big Ten to discuss various things. Are there certain topics that, I know you're just 1 year into this, but certain topics that seem to be regular items that come up?
Well, I think the changing landscape, right, of college basketball and college sports in general is dominated discussions. I would imagine it's been that case the last couple years, and the uncertainty with kind of what's happening moving forward, all of that is really important to discuss and iron out and figure out how the Big Ten, right, is going to be leaders. And I think that's the great thing about being in this conference is we're helping push the decisions and the narrative as leaders.
It is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, basketball fans, Credit Union of Ohio wants to help you score more by making life more affordable. It's time to play with a team that helps you win every day. Credit Union of Ohio's loan rates have dropped to provide affordable financing for the things you want and need. It's time to reevaluate your current loans and consider refinancing with a team that cares about you. Check out current specials and get started scoring more money at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint. With their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind or grab a carryout. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizza, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon.
Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus, 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter.
Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
At Planet Fitness, we're declaring it. This is the year of getting stronger. And future stronger you can get started now by saving $28 or more when you join today. You in? We have all the best-in-class equipment you could ever need to keep stepping it up. And free fitness training to help you mix up your routine. Plus, most clubs are open 24 hours. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more. Just $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends February 28th. See Home Club for details.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
If you say something with enough confidence, it must be true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a Tuesday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
On Monday, front office sports reported on some proposed changes to the NBA's All-Star Game. $1 million one-on-one tournament in 2026, a 5 p.m. Eastern start time, And big-name All-Stars in the dunk contests are just 3 of the proposed changes for the 2026 All-Star Game that'll be held at the Intuit Dome in Los Angeles. Thing or not a thing?
Boy, they're just throwing a lot of stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. One-on-one tournament, I think you'd have to mandate everybody who's an All-Star is in it. So all 24 would have to be in it. It couldn't be like you get to pick if you're in it or not. Like it should be, if you force them to do it, then you're not going to want to be shown up. So I think then you would get effort. I think it'll take more than $1 million. If it's voluntary, it's going to take more than $1 million to make it happen. The big name stars in the dunk contest, I'll believe that when I see it. LeBron, it used to be a rite of passage. Like Jordan did it a lot, then Kobe did it, and LeBron never did it. He just chose not to do it. Must have felt like there wasn't a win for him in doing it, so he didn't do it. So would that be like Anthony Edwards, John Morant? Like who's in Levine and Gordon and do they all go against our boy Mac? Because that guy's not losing.
Yeah, you got to have Mac for the 4-peat.
He's a 3-time champion, right?
Yeah.
This thing. The first time he did it was a organically awesome experience. I happened to be watching. The boys were really into it. I happened to be watching. I had no idea who he was, and I happened to be watching when he won it the first time, and it was just incredible to see. And he saved it, but then you just keep playing that same trick, and it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I think the thing is you really have to just to get them caring again about it. And there's just a culture around All-Star games now. That's why the NFL did away with theirs. It's why the NHL's trying what they're trying with the tournament that they're doing now. Baseball, I mean, look at what, this isn't just an NBA problem. Baseball said home field in the World Series now goes to the winner. They did that. So, like, we've tried a bunch of things to make folks care about these things. They just don't the way they used to.
I think the only thing in this that could be a thing is if you get the stars to do the dunk contest, then maybe you would have something with that. Because I remember, the times when you had Jordan and Dominique and how great that was. And Vince Carter, who kind of ruined dunk contests, I think, for me until, I will say, Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine, I think, did a great job of bringing that back. But there was such a lull between Vince Carter and those guys because what else could you do? So that's the one thing. If you get the stars in the dunk contest, there's nothing about a one-on-one tournament that does anything for me because I don't know if they're going to take it seriously or not, if they're going to care that much. Your point about being embarrassed, Bo, is a good one that I didn't think about. But are they still going to care because it's an all-star game? The prize money would have to be so huge. So, yeah, I mean, for the most part, this is really not a thing because I just don't. You got to, like you said, change the mindset about it to make it work.
Here's the other thing that's really hard about the dunk contest. When we were kids, you didn't see, in the run of play, you did not see all of it. There was no YouTube. So you would see, like, if you saw Jordan in a dunk contest, like, go watch one of those old dunk contests and compare them to, like, the recent dunk contests in terms of the types of dunks that are being done. They're just normal dunks. Like, Jordan jumped from the free throw line. He did, like, one where he kind of, like, leaned and kiss the sky dunk. But, like, the dunks they're doing now are far more difficult, and we've seen them all. Like, there's basically professional dunkers that's all they do is dunk. In those days, you didn't see all of that stuff. Like, Dr. J won the first dunk contest. He kind of just went off from, like, the free throw line. There was nothing crazy about it. Now we've seen them all. So I don't really – the dunk contest one, I don't see any win in that for anybody doing it. I think we've all seen just all of the dunks that can be done. What more can you do?
Mike Trout arrived at spring training for the Angels on Sunday and took part in a meeting with Los Angeles coaches during which they determined the 3-time MVP would move from center field to right field to try and preserve his body and keep him healthy. The 33-year-old Trout sounds like he's on board. Quote, "I knew it was coming. I just want to be on the field." Trout spent his first 14 years as a center fielder, but he's never won a Golden Glove. Injuries have limited him to 266 of a potential 648 games over the last 4 seasons. Thing or not a thing?
Not a thing. It's over. First of all, it's baseball, and I'm not ready for this yet. So there's that. I'll keep the bit going. I also think, like, who is... When Mike Trout redid that contract, and I don't blame him, it's Orange County. If you've not been to Orange County, there are a few places on the planet that are better than Orange County to live. It's stunning. But he had a choice to play real baseball or not, and he chose to not by staying with the Angels. So he is going to play his entire career in a closet. I was trying to think of in other sports, a guy who was universally regarded as the best player in the sport, but never even got close to playing at the biggest stage. I suppose it would be like McDavid, but he played for the Cup last year. Like if McDavid played like 10 years of his career in Edmonton and never got to the Stanley Cup finals, that's probably because like Trout was for a decade was universally considered the best player in the game, and no one's ever seen him play postseason baseball. He played once, but they were out quick. So it's just a strange one. And now I think the time is gone. There was an opportunity, and he decided to stay in one of the most luxurious places you could stay and live the rest of your life. I don't blame him. It's stunning there. But he also chose not to be a serious baseball player and play on a big stage.
Well, outside of his second year in the NFL, Dan Marino would probably be the one that was closest, because I don't think Phillip Rivers would ever be considered the greatest like these guys were.
Maybe it's Lamar.
So
maybe
Lamar.
Because Trout won MVPs. Like maybe it's Lamar. If Lamar never plays in a Super Bowl, maybe that fits it, where he's like the best player. But I don't know. Like I don't know that Marino is ever considered the best player in football. Trout for a decade was the best player.
To me, this isn't a thing because you've seen baseball players in the past do this. They were talking about he's going to talk to Torrey Holt, who was a great center fielder, moved to right field. Ken Griffey Jr. moved to right field at the end of his career. If they were really worried about saving his legs, they just throw him at the DH spot.
Yeah.
But I still think he's too good of an outfielder. I mean, he could still go out there and pick it in center field with the best of it. It's just he's had so many injuries, and I don't even know how many of those injuries have just been from him running, quite frankly. He's such a big dude, though. Whatever wear and tear you can take off of him, he looks like a linebacker out there. But, yeah, this is not a thing. Hopefully he can stay healthy for a few more years, and we can see a little bit of greatness left in this guy, because I don't know if we've ever truly realized how great he is because we haven't seen him play.
Yeah, I mean, he played his whole career. Bonds was kind of like that. He got to the one World Series, but that Bonds was like that, where he was the best, and then he never got to the biggest stage, and he played entirely on the West Coast. But at least they got at bats. Like Trout really hasn't even got that. Final hour of the program up next. Coming up at 11:30, Dane Brugler. He's the smartest it goes when it comes to scouting the NFL draft. We'll ask him about the quarterbacks, ask him about the Buckeyes. The Combine is next week, so you have that as a little bit of an aperitif for that. That's coming up next at 11:30. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The only show where sports talk is eclipsed by food talk. Oh, nuts. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan.
Oh, by the way, Ivan's no longer on the project. His wife got a new job, so they're moving across the country.
Robin's top researcher is deviating to a new market. This isn't standard.
And now we're short-staffed. Who's going to finish all these projects?
She needs a cluster of new data analysts, and there's no margin for error.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 16, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
At Meijer, we work hard to bring more of the good life to your life, so you can bring home more perfectly plump and flavorful produce picked for precise freshness, beautifully marbled beyond brag-worthy certified Angus beef, and more must-have money-saving M-Perks rewards. Because saving more on local favorites is good, but bringing home more of what you love in every trip, that's the good life. We do more to make life a good deal better at Meijer.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Well, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students. Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reese. Joe Burrow wants the Bengals to run it back with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Trey Hendrickson. ESPN is reporting that Cincinnati wants that as well. Bengals could franchise tag T. Higgins before the NFL's deadline at 4 o'clock today. If that happens, both teams have until July 15th to work out a new deal, or Higgins will play 2025 in Cincinnati, making more than $25 million. NFL's new league year begins Wednesday, March 12th. Same day in Indianapolis, the Big Ten men's basketball tournament starts. Ohio State's got 5 more games before then. The Buckeyes will host Northwestern Thursday at 6:30. Ohio State will then go to Los Angeles for a pair of games next week. In hockey, the Blue Jackets are back from the Four Nations face-off break Saturday, hosting Chicago. Jackets defenseman Zach Werenski had 5 assists in 3 games for Team USA, who battle Team Canada in the Four Nations finale in Boston Thursday night at 8. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
With friends like these, who needs former college football players? This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, Dane Brugler coming up at 11:30. The coolest thing, and basically because of the family illness, we were in the house all weekend. There wasn't a whole lot. I was able to take the boys out on Friday, but then that didn't end well for Beamsy. I recanted that story at the top of the show, and then we were kind of just on lockdown the rest of the way. So we watched a lot of stuff. For example, NBC had never seen the Batman Christopher Nolan trilogy, so we did that. And I've been trying to get him to watch it for a long time. I'm like, dude, these are great. Like, forget about the superhero stuff. Like, these are great. And yes, they were. They held up. I hadn't seen them all like in order like that in a long time. So those hold up very well. But probably the best thing I saw all weekend was the stuff around Saturday Night Live. So the 50th anniversary show, the 3-hour show, was Sunday night. On Saturday night, they had kind of a tribute to the music that had been played on Saturday Night Live through the years and the iconic moments there. Friday night was a concert. The one thing that bugged me, the stuff that I DVR'd was awesome because I could blast through the commercials. But on the Peacock app, which again I pay for, they still put commercials in it. Like, What are we doing? This is not. I'm paying for the service. Netflix doesn't throw commercials in the middle of my shows. Why do you think you can?
Well, you got to pay for the premium. There's two
That's
different.
a joke.
There's 2 different, and like so.
It's an utter joke.
Is there a Peacock tier that has no commercials?
Yeah, I believe they call it Peacock Premium, and I will say this, Bo, on my Netflix, I do have commercials.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
like in the middle of your shows?
Yeah, because I just bought the cheaper one because I didn't care, whatever. So there are commercials on mine.
They all
even on like the new terms of service for some Hulu subscriptions and Disney Plus subscriptions, the premium tiers that are supposed to not offer commercials will have commercials in specific programming.
How are we not just? We were just better off with cable. That was it. I mean, you just were better then versus all these services and all these streamers. I thought the SNL thing was a home run. I think they crushed it. I'm watching it on Sunday, and I was bouncing around, and I when it would go to break, I'd watch the NBA, and my younger kids were watching the NBA stuff, and me and the older were watching the SNL. I was trying to think of something else that would serve as a better time capsule for America than that. 50 years, most Saturdays, largely the same guy running it for 45 of the 50. Lorne Michaels, 45 of 50. There's 5 years he didn't run it where Dick Ebersol ran it, who then eventually ran NBC Sports. But it was largely Lorne Michaels. The hit rate on casts, almost whatever era that they put up. I mean, you go way back, and this is way before my time, but if you think about Belushi and Chevy Chase and Aykroyd, into Bill Murray and Billy Crystal and Eddie Murphy, into Spade and Sandler and Farley and Norm Macdonald and Hartman and all of those guys, into Will Ferrell, into Kristen Wiig, into Bill Hader and all of those. I mean, they never, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, like they never missed on a cast. And if they did, he pivoted quickly to another one. And I don't know. The interesting thing about it is trying to navigate it now. It was also, in watching it, it occurred to me this is the last one of those. Because you think about 50 years, obviously Lauren's in his 80s. They opened the show with Paul Simon singing with Sabrina Carpenter. The last musical act was a guy you maybe heard of named Paul McCartney. The monologue was done by Steve Martin. The goodbye was done by Martin Short. All of those people are in their 70s or 80s, most in their 80s. You look in the audience, it was filled with people in their 60s, and you say to yourself, are they going to get to a 60th? Most of those people probably won't. And that's the next anniversary you do. It'd be 60. You're going to have to wait 10 years for another one. And I don't know how it can be top of pop culture. I don't know if it still is. I will tell you that, like, NBC's 13, and he had known of that Domingo sketch, which went viral. Like, that reached him on his social channels, and they did a funny bit with that over the weekend. So that reached him. Some of the stuff on Weekend Update still reaches him. But the other thing that they're going to struggle with going forward is they only do it in the traditional television calendar. So they start in October and then they're done in May. I mean, if you think about the political theater of the summer, they miss out on that entirely. They don't have any of that. So I was watching it and I was so appreciative of what they did. I thought it crushed. I didn't think there was anything that didn't hit. All the sketches hit, the monologues hit, the Q&A hit, the music hit, all of it won. But I'm watching it saying, like, I'm watching it I'm not going to get another one of these. This is it. It was going to happen this one time, and you're not going to see this group of people together again. Some of it's just age, and some of it is just the changing way that we view entertainment.
Yeah, 14.8 million viewers watched that thing across NBC and Peacock on Sunday night. It's a 202% raise in a normal SNL broadcast from this past season, their 50th. And I thought it was interesting watching it, how they branded it SNL 50. Yeah. Because they get a lot of their viewership from YouTube, is what Variety was reporting, where that Jeopardy sketch has already got like 3 million viewers. And I thought that's kind of the pivot. You go SNL on YouTube or SNL on TikTok or Instagram, and you do more viral content while still having that Saturday night show, while still making it available day of and day after on Peacock. But that's where I think they start to they shift from Saturday night and just SNL.
I was I did not watch it. Well, let me say I turned it on after the Daytona 500 went off. So I think about.
By the way, I believe I had that, Bake.
What's that?
Daytona 500 would be delayed.
Yes,
who won it?
I believe you did. William Byron, second year in a row, he has won that. But so I think I turned it on right in the middle of Sandler's song.
Oh my God!
When he was going through everyone and. Yeah. And I turned it on as I was going to bed, and I got through it, but I don't know how much I paid attention. I'm definitely going to go back and watch it. I've heard some people that didn't like it, and some people that loved it. What were the negative? I'm just curious because I don't know what they could have done better. I think the people that I heard that didn't like it were kind of just expecting to see them go through the years and show some of the better skits. Overwords. I think they were going to think it. I think they kind of thought it was going to be like a review and maybe not like so much new content. Yeah, something like that. But I definitely want to go back and watch it. But I told you, Bo, like I have not watched an episode of Saturday Night Live probably since the mid to late 90s. And
not since I've had kids have I watched there was a time where, like, if we weren't even Amy and I, when early parts of our relationship, like if we weren't going out to dinner on a Saturday night, or even if we were, we would turn it on when we got home, like before kids. But I'm not up that late now.
Reese, I think what you said is kind of how I've consumed Saturday Night Live through the past few years, is through social media, seeing clips here and there, the Weekend Update clips. Like I remember the one with that they did the skit on Deion Sanders, and it was great, and passing that along to people. But it was almost like you viewed it in highlights, and maybe that's a good setup for them to kind of continue that with, hey, we're still going to do this show, but it's really going to be social media available.
I think they're there kind of already. I think they're really quick. Like if they have if like the Domingo thing with the Sabrina Carpenter spoof of the Espresso song, like that thing hit, and like they quickly got that out, and that was the next day. It started to be pushed. The Nate Bargatze skits when he's George Washington, like those have gone viral where those hit. But yeah, I think it's going to be. I think it's crazy it survived this long. I think it's probably just a enormous amount of respect for Lorne Michaels that the folks running NBC has, and so he still gets a wide net to kind of cast. I can't even imagine what the expense of that show is, juxtaposed to what are now the ratings of it compared to what it was 20 years ago. I can't imagine, like, how do you pay all of those people and still be profitable? So who knows if they are or not, but I think there's so much respect for him. I really don't know what more they could have done. I thought that the mix of the thing about wanting to just see a clip show is all of that stuff is on YouTube.
Or on Peacock if you want to dip out.
Sure.
And dip back in and then keep, you can dip.
So, like, I thought they did a hell of a job of mixing, like, here were some clip stuff that we did and then original skits that took from all of it. Like the idea of Eddie Murphy doing an impersonation of Tracy Morgan on Black Jeopardy while Tracy Morgan is standing next to him is pretty undefeated. Like, only they could pull that off. They crushed that part of it. The idea that Meryl Streep came on with Kate McKinnon and played like the abducted alien woman, her mom, like that only they can do that. To have Sabrina Carpenter sing the Domingo song in that skit where they're spoofing her song, kind of only they can do it. And I don't know, it was awesome. I loved it. It was nostalgic. I loved it. But it was also kind of sad because it's like, I don't know if this was kind of the last one. Like, most of the people who were figureheads of this one, or the key people, they won't be there in 10 years. And I don't know if SNL will be there in 10 years. It kind of felt to me like kind of a celebration, but also a little bit of the end. But it was fun. It's good to see Mike Myers do Linda Richmond again, too. That was fun to see. Lot of hits on it. It's worth a watch. If you didn't and you got to suffer through the Peacock commercials, it's probably worth it to be able to do it.
Bo, the one thing that I did see, especially catching the end of that Sandler song, just how many of those cast members have passed away, and how, gosh, I mean, just think of the entertainment and the movies and the comedy that we could have had from so many of those people if they had stayed.
It's just Farley and Belushi alone. I mean, those two died so young.
Yeah.
No, that's the thing that struck me. It was just like 50 years and they really never missed. Even the cast that you said weren't as strong, like they pivoted off of them quickly and then they found a new cast and it just hit home runs with so many of it. So it's an institution for sure. Who is the most watched college football team of the 2024 season? It might surprise you. We'll get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Head to 971thefan.com to listen on demand and subscribe to all our podcasts. Wasting time has never been easier. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Bo Bishop here. High Bank Distillery Co. is the most awarded distillery in America at the 2024 San Francisco World Spirits Competition. Stop by your local liquor store to grab a bottle, or the 3 restaurant locations in Gahanna, Grandview, or Westerville. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
I need a small order of sheet metal to repair something in the shop. It's not much, but can you help me out?
At Metal Supermarkets, no order is too small.
Wait, really?
Yep.
What about small home projects?
Yep.
For a car I'm working on?
Yep.
Any kind of metal?
Yep.
Cut to size?
Yep.
With no minimum order?
Yep.
How about 1,000 cut pieces of aluminum flat bar?
Yep. Choose from over 8,000 types, shapes, and grades of metal in any quantity you need. And yes, we're serious. Any metal, any size, ready fast. Locally owned on Wilson Road.
You hungry? You know you are. We got chicken fingers, crunchy. Fries are golden crispy, baby. Yo, don't forget about the cane sauce, baby. Ooh, right, it hits the spot. Hello.
One of the things I had decided when I started the company was we were going to build the best window possible. We were going to give the best service possible, and I think we've accomplished that. Our reputation is built on taking care of people and building a great window and then taking care of it afterwards. It's just a darn good window.
Visit Rosati Windows by the end of this month and get 35% off all windows and doors.
It's really been amazing. The amount of people that I've had contact me, and the talk is generally centered around QC Kinetics, and whether it's a knee, whether it's a back, a hip, shoulder.
He's always happy to talk about how QC Kinetics all-natural regenerative treatments finally gave him relief without surgery. That's former pro football player Bobby Carpenter.
My message to them is do not wait and push off a week, a month, whatever it is. So if you want to feel better this summer, now would be the time to get in. If you want to feel better in the fall, make sure that you're getting in here so you can go out and play golf and do the things that you love and enjoy.
Spoken by a man who experienced relief firsthand. QC Kinetics gave this former pro athlete back his mobility, his activity, and they'll do the same for you.
Has really helped me in just my general quality of life.
Don't wait. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation today. QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365. Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio.
Hi, here are some ways to listen to The Fan. You can download the Fan app, or listen at home on your smart speaker, or open up the iHeartRadio app, or hold your head out the window and hear Common Man scream. Happy listening from the Dopes at The Fan.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Damaro.
Ohio's public school students deserve the opportunity to thrive, to get a world-class education that inspires their curiosity, imagination, and desire to learn, to have the supports they need to succeed in our classrooms and beyond. Our public schools must have fully funded resources to meet our students' needs. Tell your lawmakers to support public school funding.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We are looking at a very cold Tuesday out there. Temperatures today will rise up to about 18, but wind chills this afternoon will only get up to around 6 degrees. We'll be looking for increasing clouds today. Cloudy on your Wednesday with a high of 20. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
If you're starting your day any other way, you're doing it wrong. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan. 10 feet tall and bulletproof isn't just a saying, it's a way of life. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Indeed you are. Dane Brugler coming up here in about 13 minutes. Of course, we are sponsored by our friends at Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. Wedding weekends this weekend. Check them out. You'll be glad that you did. What do you make of how real? We're at a point now where with AI, there's stuff that pops up on my feed. I can't tell sometimes if it's real or not. Like I click on something and I hear it, and it doesn't feel like the voice matches the human, but I don't know. NBC can pick it up better than I can. There was I want to say it was like a new model Volkswagen that came out, and I showed him a picture of it. He's like, Dad, that's clearly AI. And I'm like, I don't know. It looks kind of real. It looks real to me. He's like, no, the background's AI. I don't know. Looks the same. The reason I bring all this up, you've seen, no doubt, the video of Shedeur Sanders saying he only plays Madden with the Browns because he likes the way that they move. Do you believe it at all? Or do you think, I mean, this is someone who rooted for the Raiders to lose. He talked about, he wore like Giants. I think he's just playing the game, right? I mean, they picked second. So if anything, maybe there's this sense of like, hey, there was this notion that I wouldn't want to play there. Well, let's dispel that. I would. It'd be fine. But the idea that he only played with the Browns on Madden, really?
I don't know, man. If that roster's fully healthy, that could be a fun team to play as.
So your quarterback's a 72 overall. I don't even know that they would have.
He's run the ball.
Yeah, I maybe do they give Nick Chubb a 90? Like hoping that he's back to what he used to be? I'd have to look at that.
I think he is playing I saw the thing and it felt very much forced. Like, no, you don't just play with one team, and that one team isn't the Cleveland Browns. Like, you're telling me you're not going to fire up that game and not play as Patrick Mahomes or not play a game as Josh Allen. Like, you're just sticking with Watson and the Cleveland Browns.
I don't know anybody who would have access to the college football game and the Madden game and ever play Madden.
So there's that. So that would be the red flag for me. If I'm picking first or second, I'm like, whoa, you have options here, and you're choosing the inferior product.
Did you guys play both? Did you have both this year? Did you play the college football game in Madden?
I'm pretty sure I haven't played a video game in about 15 years.
It's been a minute for me too.
All right. So if you have the children, and then you'll be reintroduced. So there was a bundle that you could get in July where you could pay a decent amount of money, but it seemed like kind of a deal, and you could get the college football game and the Madden game at the same time. So we did it, and you got like the kids get excited because there's get what amounts to like V-Bucks, and then they can spend it on stuff in the game. All the games now are rigged to make kids spend more money on the games. It's not just the game that they're selling you anymore. They're selling you in-game purchases. That's the whole operation. So we did it. I've been skeptical of the Madden game for a long time. I think it sucks. I think it sucked for a long time. My big issue with it is, and I've heard people push back, my big issue with it is every pass from the quarterback is either a completion or an interception. So you will oftentimes go, I will anyway, like 26 of 31 with 5 picks and 4 touchdowns. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Jameis Winston stats.
Nobody
right
drops
there.
anything. You don't drop it. Everything's caught. The other thing that really frustrates me is linebackers in the NFL game, Madden, can jump. Like if they're 7 yards off the ball and they're dropping into a zone, they can easily apparently jump like 16 feet in the air and intercept any ball deep down the middle. So you really can't throw it there. So the college game isn't like that at all. The college gameplay is stunning. It's awesome. It's like real football. Like the ball hits the ground from time to time. Like they've aced it. I don't know how they did it to college and they couldn't do it in the NFL. But if you had the opportunity to play both, I have a hard time believing that you would choose the Madden over the college football. I just don't buy it.
And Nick Chubb's an 89 overall. Myles Garrett a 98. So there are some players that could be fun, but you hit it. If you have the opportunity to play college with college rosters and in college environments and to do college rivalries, and then on the same disc or in the same memory bank, you have this other game where it's very sterile and the gameplay isn't as fun, and you're picking that one. It could be, now that I think about it, how little he plays Madden. Every time I fire it up, well, how often is that? Like once a month?
At best, yeah. Here's the other thing. That Colorado team is awesome to play on Madden because he's great, and Travis Hunter's a 99. So you can go bombs over Baghdad. No one can cover Travis one-on-one.
That's what I was going to say about the two. Wouldn't he want to play the college football game because he could be himself?
Yeah, and he's great. I think he's the highest-rated quarterback in it. After they did the updates, I think he's the highest-rated. It was probably Carson Beck to start, but I think he ended up being the highest-rated quarterback in the game. But their offense, Colorado's offense in the game, like anytime the boys want to play, and they're always the Buckeyes, I will play as Colorado because I just want to throw it every time, and Shedeur amazing. And Travis gets deep. So they're a lot of fun. One of the things that we're going to talk about a lot tomorrow is going to be this SEC Big Ten meeting that is going to take place. They're going to decide essentially the future of the sport. What is the playoff going to look like? What is the future of the sport? What are the things that are important? To that end, one of the things that they're going to be deciding is who's going to be let into the dance. So what's going to matter here going forward is eyeballs driven and return on investment for television partners. So I think my opinion, it's going to be critical that they get this calendar sorted out and they don't go head-to-head and compete with the NFL. One of the things that we saw in the playoff was numbers that I think were probably a little disappointing because they were competing in either competing directly against the NFL or at the very least competing for attention with the NFL. And nobody is going to win in that regard, trying to go head-to-head with the NFL in January. So that's going to be something that they have to sort out. The other thing that they're going to be looking at is, well, who's driving eyeballs? So we're talking about Shedeur Sanders. This was from 24/7 Sports over the weekend. They did the 10 most watched college football teams of 2024. So from this past season, the 10 most watched. And this speaks to something that we've talked about a lot in terms of the SEC playing the hits, because I think when we reveal this, you're going to see how playing the hits worked for them. So number 10 on this list is Shedeur Sanders' Colorado team, which is remarkable. They averaged 4.1 million viewers a game. That's on star power because their out of conference wasn't great and the Big 12 wasn't great. But they had Travis, they had Shedeur, and they had Coach Prime. And so 4.178, 10, that's great. Number 9 is a surprise to me. Kentucky's number 9, 4.4. But Kentucky played Georgia. Kentucky played Ole Miss. Kentucky played Tennessee, so that gets them to 4.4. Penn State is 8th, 4.58. LSU is 7th. Texas A&M is 6th at almost 4.8. Then Tennessee gets a big jump up, 6.4 for Tennessee. Alabama, 6.5. Ohio State is 3rd at 6.68. Texas is 2nd at 7.36. And Georgia is 1 at just under 8.5 million. You are talking about a list of top 10 that includes only 2 Big Ten teams. No Michigan, no Oregon, no USC, no Notre Dame. You remember looking at the Georgia schedule at the beginning of the year and going, my God, they're playing everybody. This is what you get. When you play everybody, you get 8.5. Georgia played Texas. They played Alabama. They played everybody in the league that you'd want to play. They're an established brand anyway, and that nets them 8.5 million eyeballs every time they played. And only 2 Big Ten in the top 10 is concerning. It should be concerning.
Ohio State's schedule left a lot to be desired last season, and I wonder if someone took these numbers or the Georgia 8.4 million and just said, don't show Kirby that. Because after the SEC championship game, he was none too thrilled with the schedule. Like 5 feet away from Greg Sankey was like, this doesn't work.
No, I don't blame him. But it worked for Sankey because Sankey is serving the presidents and he's serving his television partners. And what he delivered is 7 of the top 10 football entities in terms of eyeballs watched.
I thought it was surprising that I was surprised Georgia was number 1. I thought Texas or Ohio State would be number 1. And then when they started digging into this a little more, I was definitely surprised that Ohio State was not number 1, especially since the 3 most watched games of the year, Ohio State was involved in. I think it goes to show you that non-conference schedule for Ohio State, nobody really was watching those games that wasn't a Buckeye fan. And also I think it's a little bit of big noon on Fox compared to 3:30 on CBS.
There's no question that you have a concentrated window when you are the SEC. I mean, you're going to have the cross promotion, right, of ESPN and all of that. But I do wonder if this will impact how the Big Ten schedule is going forward. Remember, Ohio State did not play USC in the first year of the league. That's a problem. We're not going to play Penn State in 2 years. That's a problem. You need to play the hits. If this is something that matters, we know from the bottom line it does. You've got to play the hits a little bit better than the Big Ten did in year 1. Big Ten got the final laugh. They won the last 2 national titles. But from a rating standpoint, that's where the money comes from. Dane Brugler in 2 minutes. His pre-combine breakdown of the quarterbacks, the Buckeyes. That's coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right. So we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for basketball and hockey this season. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every one-timer and buzzer-beating 3 live and in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Don't miss out. Visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Winter's here, and as the snow begins to pile up outside, you might find yourself dreaming of warmer days, sunshine, barbecues, fishing, maybe even thinking about those home projects you've been putting off for forever. Why wait for spring to start planning? Now's the perfect time to get ahead. With so many roofing, gutter, and siding companies out there, it can feel overwhelming to know where to begin. With over 30 years of experience and a focus on every detail, Newman Roofing makes it simple. As a family-owned business, they're dedicated to delivering an outstanding customer experience from your first phone call all the way through to the final touches on your home. When it comes to roofing, gutters, and siding, trust the name that's been a local favorite for decades, Newman Roofing. Call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF. That's 614-NEW-ROOF. 614-NEW-ROOF, or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Ohio Heating and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Keep your friends close and your producers closer. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, time to head out on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Conversation with our great friend Dane Brugler. He's the best in the business on the NFL Draft. He's at The Athletic, and he joins us there. Dane, thank you so much for taking the time. Let's start here. When does your process on this class start?
Oh, wow. It's hard to put a date on it or anything like that, just because, doing this year round, you're constantly, like right now, I'm focused on the 2025 draft, but I'm picking up a lot of random information on players for the 2026 and 2027 drafts. So it's really an ongoing process year to year that carries over, because when you're talking to a coach, you're talking to a player, and inevitably a name will come up for future classes. So there have been players in this draft that I've been working on for the last 3 years, not necessarily trying to, but just that information comes up from different sources. So yeah, this a couple of these players in this class, especially some of those Ohio State players that have been around for 4 years, feels like we've been talking about them for a while now, and it's exciting that we're finally here to the draft process where we can project where they're going to end up.
All right, let's start with the quarterback class, because obviously the Browns are going to pick at number 2. If you don't have a quarterback, it's hard to win in the National Football League. When you hear people say this quarterback class is not elite, it's not great, I guess my question to you is, are there any quarterbacks in this draft that have elite traits that you could see transitioning to the next level and being effective?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you look at Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, the projected top 2 quarterbacks off the board, and both have the traits to be NFL starters. There's no doubt about that. With Cam, it's more about, okay, can he be consistent enough taking care of the football and, making the right decisions on the right situations consistently. He'll do it in flashes. He did it more at a high level this year than last year, which is, gives you optimism. That progression that he has shown since, high school in Wing T, going to Incarnate Word, then Washington State, and this past year at Miami, showing that progression and getting better and better is something that you can really latch onto and say, okay, well, that's going to continue with NFL coaching next year and beyond. With Shedeur, I think the big question is, can he elevate the talent around him to go win a division, go to the playoffs, and more than that? And he has the requisite toughness, accuracy, intelligence to be an NFL starter. But can he manage the pocket when, he's not able to be clean, set, and throw? Does he have enough juice in his arm? Does he have enough mobility where he can move around, buy those second chance plays, things that we see Cam Ward do all the time? So if I had to bet on one of these quarterbacks in this draft, it would be Cam Ward, just because I think that there's more to him. But I do think Shedeur will start in this league. I just question if, can he elevate everyone around him that, enough where he's going to lead them to the playoffs, or does he need an elite cast around him and he's just more the facilitator? And so for a team, like the Browns sitting there at 2, I don't think they have enough on offense where Shedeur is going to be able to, just raise everybody around him. And so I think it becomes an interesting conversation for especially where the Browns are on their timeline. Do you force the pick at 2 at quarterback, or do you continue building up the roster and look towards next year to get your guy?
I want to ask you about Shedeur a little bit, drill in on him just for a second. The accuracy you mentioned led the NCAA in that. It seems like when he's in structure, the ball comes out quick. It comes out on point. They had one of the worst offensive lines. And Dana, as you know, like they didn't try to really run it at all. I mean, just none. Mm-hmm. And there's certainly some bad habits you saw in that, where he would try to extend plays and make stuff out of nothing a little bit. But he was under siege most times. How do you, when you're trying to see how does this guy transition to the next level, what plays are you looking for from him to lead you to believe that he can or cannot?
Yeah, and that's a big thing with all quarterback prospects is trying to figure out if they can't do something or maybe if they're just unproven doing that. There's a lot of quarterbacks that, they're asked to do specific things in their scheme in college, whether it's, just look half side of the field and not make full field progressions, or you're not looking at the tight end. You're looking at the receiver and then your number one read, dropping your eyes, and then trying to make something happen. So trying to understand where these guys are coming from with how they're coached within the structure of that offense is such a big piece to that, and something that I think can get lost in translation sometimes with Shedeur. And it's also tough, too, when you factor in where they play. Like playing in the Big 12 against Big 12 defenses, very different than playing in the Big Ten or the SEC against those style of defenses. And when you look at Shedeur, something that I didn't love was his toughest games, his roughest tapes were against the best defenses that he faced, Kansas State, Nebraska, where, you really saw him not trust the offensive line in front of him, where he is, getting the ball out quicker than he needs to because he just can feel that kind of pressure closing in on him. And so, I think when you look at the NFL, about 60% of the plays don't go as according to plan throughout a given game. You have to be able to move your feet and create something. And, does Shedeur, he did some of that in college. I mean, I can throw on the tape and show examples of that, but against an NFL-style defense, I know he has the poise. Does he have enough athleticism where he can extend that play, make a big throw? I feel like he's wired the right way, and that's why he's going to be an NFL starter. I think some of the back and forth with Shedeur is, for whatever reason on Twitter, you either love him or hate him. And that's just not how it works. You need context. And I do believe Shedeur Sanders can be an NFL starter. It's just how much does he have the requisite elite traits that is going to really elevate his game and everybody around him. That's where the big question mark comes in.
Dane, where are you on our quarterback here, Will Howard, who was extraordinary in the playoff? And probably did as much good for himself as he could be. And I don't know if he could get there as quarterback number 3, but what do you see in Howard, and what you talk about good on good? I mean, obviously their talent here is elite, so that's always a tough one when it comes to Ohio State quarterbacks.
Right.
What do you make of Howard?
Yeah, I remember C.J. Stroud got that, well, look who the receivers he was throwing to, type of treatment when he was coming out as a prospect. And so, yeah, that's always going to be the case with, Tua got it at Alabama. And so whenever you're playing with good talent, that's going to pop up. But I think the most, we talked about with Cam Ward, how he just got better and better and better. With Will Howard coming into a new program, like that's not easy, so to show up at and not just any program, it's Ohio State. So to show up at a top program and by the end of the year, become the clear leader in a short period of time, that says a lot about him as a player and then also as a person. And I think that's something that really speaks to NFL teams. The physical traits are obviously there, 6'4", 235 pounds, not an elite type of arm, but a good arm, certainly good enough for what the NFL is looking for. And then just the way he played down the stretch, he learned from his mistakes. He was not without flaws throughout the year. Some of the interceptions, some of the decisions where he just kind of looked like he was stubbornly going to make the read and make the throw that he wanted to make. But towards the end of the year, he got better and better at that. You could see that in the interception he threw against Texas where, he didn't anticipate the linebacker dropping. You could see it the next game against Notre Dame where he just put a little bit more loft on the ball when he was trying to throw it in between the linebacker and safety levels. So, you see him getting better and better, which is certainly impressive. I think the running backs and the offensive line got a lot of credit for all the red zone efficiency that Ohio State had this year. I think a lot of that belongs to Will Howard as well because of the way that he, operated the offense and, using his legs at times, but then also using his arm where he can make things happen. So I'm big fan of Will Howard. The question will be, okay, because he's going to play in the NFL a long time. It's just, can he ascend to starter status, or is he just going to be a really good backup? I think teams, we didn't get a chance to see him at the Senior Bowl, which is a bummer. But I think seeing him at the Combine will certainly help as teams figure out, does he have starting potential, or are we just looking at him as a really good backup?
Talking to the great Dane Brugler, NFL draft analyst at The Athletic. This is a class, as you mentioned, who we've known. You've seen these guys have played so much football. Who are a couple of guys you really love out of this Ohio State team as they make the transition to the NFL?
Geez, do we have enough time? I mean, it's crazy the amount of. I really thought they were going to break the record, which is the record's 15. I thought they'd get 16, but with Igbenogson and Sonny Styles going back, I don't think they're going to break the record, but I do think they'll tie it with 15. But yeah, I mean, so many of these guys are they're a joy to watch. Emeka Egbuka. It's funny with Egbuka. He was in 4 years at Ohio State, as good as he is, he was probably never the best receiver on the team. He shows up and Garrett Wilson's there. And then, Marvin Harrison Jr. is there the last 2 years, the next 2 years. And then this past year with J.J. Smith. So he was never the best receiver on the team, yet he still has a chance to be a first-round pick. And I think that really speaks to the talent that he has, maybe not truly elite at anything, but good across the board, well-rounded. He's a pro's pro. That's something that, NFL teams are looking for guys they can trust. And Emeka Egbuka is going to fall in that category. Donovan Jackson really, the way that he became the unsung MVP of this team down the stretch can't be overstated. Just the way he stepped in at left tackle, and now teams are talking about him as an NFL tackle as opposed to a guard because of the way he held up out in space and, just was very consistent, rock solid the entire way. So Donovan Jackson now in that mix to be a top 35 pick as a tackle with guard flexibility. Seth McLaughlin before he got injured, that was such a loss for that team. But he was playing at an All-American level, which was awesome. Really kind of rebuilt his draft stock. On defense, I think that. What Cody Simon did this year, because he came into the year as kind of a borderline draft pick, and I think he really made himself into a guy that's going to be drafted with the way that he played. He was the heartbeat of the defense, showed, he's not going to be the most rangy guy. True speed is not really his thing, but his ability to see things before they happen gives him a head start. And, he doesn't miss many tackles. And so he's going to be a guy that teams look at and say, just a rock solid, competitive, tough football player. And we need more of those guys.
You got a lot of them. And that kid wearing number 4 is going to be someone we'll talk a lot about over the next couple of years as well. Always fun talking to you, my friend. I'll see you see you over in Indy next week.
All right. Looking forward to it. Thanks.
All right, there he is, Dane Brugler, NFL draft analyst at The Athletic on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Get you 3 things on a Tuesday. Up next, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic.
This Buckeye Football Impact Report is brought to you locally by Credit Union of Ohio and by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Ohio State football Impact Report.
From some of the best on the offensive side and now some of the best recruits on the defensive side, OSU should look no further than cornerback Devin Sanchez. From North Shore High School in Houston, Texas, here's Ohio State recruiting analyst Bill Kurlick.
Cornerback Devin Sanchez is 5-star prospect ranked number 5 in the country in regards to overall prospects. He's a 6'2", 180-pound cornerback with great length, great coverage ability. Ohio State has told him, you need to be ready to play your first year. You need to come in ready because the need is there. That doesn't mean he's necessarily going to be a starter, but at least be ready to play and get on the field, meaningful reps for the Buckeyes.
This report was brought to you by Safelite Auto Glass. I'm Matt Andrews on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at safelite.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Libman makes a difference. The Libman Mock Crew is a part of our winning team. The Libman Mock Crew makes sure the hardwood is safe and clean for the players every game at the Schottenstein Center. No matter what kind of flooring you have at your home court, Libman has the tools to keep it clean. Our mops, brooms, and brushes are proudly family made in the USA. Visit Libman.com to see our whole lineup and for a store locator. That's Libman.com. Libman, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
I used to love shooting hoops with my dad, who taught me great lessons beyond the game. He was the one who helped me open my first bank account. He told me credit unions take care of you like a teammate and often have the best rates. That's why I've been a Credit Union of Ohio member for 40 plus years.
Make life more affordable at Credit Union of Ohio. With great rates on savings and loans, Credit Union of Ohio has been trusted by families for generations. Visit cuofohio.org to join today. That's cuofohio.org. Federally insured by NCUA Equal Housing Lender.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Get Eco.
ECO. Aaron, I've been thinking. About what? About how you invented a way to fix ACs for free.
Get Eco.
ECO.
When customers buy a new HVAC system, we give back all the money they paid us to repair their old system.
Yeah, I know. Up to $1,500.
Get Eco.
ECO. We're basically extending the life of their old system for free.
That's right. Those extra years are free. On me.
Don't you think it would be better if we said those extra years are a plus on us?
Sure, we can say that if you want.
I think it would be better.
Get Eco.
ECO. We don't want people to forget that you have a silent partner.
Remind me, how did we become partners?
Aaron, we became partners when you let me move into your spare office, and I began giving you free advice instead of paying rent.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Oh yeah, now I remember. Best deal I ever made.
I feel that way too.
Get Eco.
ECO. Eco. Plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians. GetEco.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Taking the art of sports radio and day drinking to a whole new level. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
I have no idea if this is a real or not, but it's 12 minutes ago on Barstool. T. Higgins' mom is calling the Bengals, quote, selfish bastards for franchising her son and all of New England stands with her. This is going to go well. This will go, if that's, I don't know.
I hope.
T's not saying it, but God, I hope so. I mean, that's just pure drama. Pure drama on that. The idea that somehow they're going to be able to thread the needle on that is
a team who, historically has been able to work like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's her real tweet. Yeah, she did it this morning. Jeez. Oh, man. That's tough. That's tough. What do we have in the poll today, Reese?
Well, the Daily Fan poll asks how many of these 3 Bengals, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Trey Hendrickson, will get new contracts this offseason. None of them, one of them, 2 of them, 3 of them. Those are your options. 45% say 2 of them. 27% say 1 of them. 21% say all 3.
Who do you think Bengals fans would want? If you could have 2 of the 3, which 2 would you want?
Chase and
from a balance standpoint,
Chase and Trey.
That's what I would say, just from like a balance standpoint, is give me the defensive stud, give me the offensive stud. But it might be T. And the reason for that is their offense, when they have both Higgins and Chase, their offense is on just a totally different level. And Hendrickson was, on the short list, Defensive Player of the Year, was a finalist, led the NFL in sacks, and they still missed the playoffs, and he wasn't. Their defense was still a problem. I think Burrow would probably take the two receivers.
I think you're right. I think probably the correct answer is Chase and Trey. But, man, we love offense, and I think a lot of people would say that's the way to go.
Yeah, it does seem like it. All right, time for three things on a Tuesday. Hit it, fellas.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
All right, number one for me. Today is the day that Mike Helton, who was then the president of NASCAR, stood at a podium and said, "We lost Dale Earnhardt." And you can't, as someone who covered the Daytona 500 for a lot of years, and was there at the Pepsi 400 that just 5 months later when Dale Jr. won, and covered the aftermath of it, you can't even wrap your head around that, about what that was like, what that moment was like. You could tell after Michael Waltrip won that day that something wasn't right. You could tell that. There was a tone. But nobody thought that it was that it was that type of finality. The irony, I think, probably of all of it is the last thing he saw, which probably puts a smile on race fans, even when you think about his loss, is the last thing that he saw would have been his two cars finishing 1-2 in the Daytona 500. The other thing that it did is I think his death led to an explosion of popularity in the sport over the next 3 to 5 years that had it at one point competing. We're talking 17, 18 million people watching the Daytona 500 with Junior and Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart and all those guys. Like that sport reached a peak after his death that was something you never could have sorted before.
My first thing, speaking of popular sports, 1 month from today, baseball's regular season begins in Tokyo, Japan. The Dodgers are taking on the Cubs March 18th and 19th in the Tokyo series. Both those games will start bright and early at 6 a.m., Bo. So baby. March 18th, 6 a.m., set your alarm for Dodgers-Cubs. That'll be the technical start to your Major League Baseball season.
I wonder who the folks in Japan will be rooting for.
It'll be Dodgers, right?
Yeah, they got all of them. They got all of them. Yeah, I bet they'll be quite popular.
I will piggyback off of yours, Bo, for my first thing. That's one of those moments in life, one of the rare moments where you're like, I'll always remember where I was when that happened. Remember watching that end, remember thinking, man, seen a lot worse crashes than that in my lifetime. And then the tone of the broadcast, how it changed, where, oh man, there might be something really wrong here. And everything was just different about the end of that race. And even today, if you go to a NASCAR race, I'm guessing you will see more Dale Earnhardt shirts, memorabilia, hats, whatever, than you will see anything else. I remember seeing people just this week on their social media talking about the Daytona 500, saying, raise hell, praise Dale. He's still one of the most popular figures in the sport over 20 years later.
I did a story on the merchandise in those years after his death, and the only person, he was always number 2 in merchandise. Guess who was number 1? Junior.
His son.
Yeah, the Budweiser 8 was number 1, and he was number 2 with the 3. Yeah, a bunch of contention between his ex-wife and Junior and all that. Just kind of a mess. But no, yeah, you can't even wrap your head around it. What that was like. Number 2 for me. So I mentioned I watched the Batman trilogy while we were the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy with NBC. He had not seen it. I had forgotten. I guess I didn't forget, but it wasn't jarring to me because there was so much time in between the first one and the second one. But to go from Katie Holmes to Maggie Gyllenhaal as the female lead love interest, he couldn't shake it. Like, it affected him for 45 minutes. He just couldn't understand why they recast it. So then I looked it up. Think about this from Katie Holmes' perspective, and she's a Toledo girl, so you don't want to bury an Ohioan. She chose not to be in The Dark Knight. That's crazy. Like, who was her agency? What are you doing? Like, how do you bail on that entity? Crazy. I thought that Nolan just went in a different direction. I never even considered it, but no, she bailed on it. Crazy.
So I did a little bit of digging, and there is an account that's on X. That's T. Higgins' mom, number 5.
Yeah.
And a lot of the posts are about T. Higgins, obviously, and the Selfish Bastards tweet was put up at about 8 o'clock last night when the T. Higgins tag news started to come out. And I think the Selfish Bastards reminder is this is how a lot of people feel about the Cincinnati Bengals. So whether you look at, the cap's supposed to be north of $275 million. Whether you think they have enough cap space or they have enough cash, those, in my opinion, don't necessarily matter because this organization historically does not want to pay.
Yeah.
You're going against history in this, folks. Doesn't usually go well.
Sucks for Bengals fans.
My second thing, Saturday morning, I was driving home and I noticed at freeway speeds a slight vibration or shake maybe in my car, but it was so slight that I wasn't sure. It just felt like something was different. Then Sunday morning, driving in for the call-in show, the freeways were bad because of the snow, so we really didn't get up to freeway speed that much. On the way home, though, I could feel it a little bit still, and I was like, I wonder what's going on here. Yesterday, I didn't really feel it in the morning, but leaving work, I felt it a little bit. Then I was driving up to Dublin, and I didn't really feel it at all, and I was like, maybe I've just talked myself into this. But then on the way home from Dublin, it was as bad as it had been. So last night I made some stops and I kind of looked around the tires, made sure all the lug nuts were on. There was a lot of snow around the tires, so I kicked all that snow and ice off. This morning, not bad at all driving into work. So I'm going to need to do some inspections here this morning and maybe this afternoon, maybe get the car into the shop.
Little alignment maybe will sort you out there, Bake. We'll
I
see.
I just had that done, though, 2 months ago.
You hit one of these potholes around here, buddy. That'll do it for you. No time for 3 today. We are back tomorrow. Rothman and Ice coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The two most mature people working at the radio station. And that's just because they wear pants.
The pervert and the skivvies.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fewer restrictions apply.
You'll find low prices on thousands of items. The yellow and red tags mean you'll save big on sparkling ice water, Kroger brand chips, and so much more. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
I'm Leslie from Pella, Columbus.
And I'm Wilson from that other window place.
One thing we keep hearing here in town, Wilson, is that the cost of Pella windows actually pleasantly surprises most people.
Pleasantly surprised?
You get the Pella next level quality and looks, but we also have 5 different lines to fit most budgets.
Our customers are almost always surprised, but it's never pleasant. Is there such thing as angrily surprised?
Price is a little high.
Oh no, they're a lot high.
Get the window that Columbus homeowners rate the leading and most trusted at PellaColumbus.com.
Back in the studio with a return visit from
Todd Schmelt.
Todd, the last time you were with us, you claimed to be
the dumbest person in Columbus.
You're being really hard on yourself.
Not in the least. You know what I got?
I hate to ask.
One of them thermostats with the dial and the needle. Woo, woo, woo.
Maybe that's not modern, but not...
What am I? Eli Whitney, Elias Howe, Johann Gertis?
I don't know who those people are.
Those are old-timey people from the 19th century, and that's me. Outdated, like my silly old thermostat.
Okay, look, you're not the dumbest guy in Columbus. You just haven't called Apex Pros.
The pros who knows?
Those guys. Whether it's the latest technology, fixing your furnace, or a brand new system, they know all the stuff so you don't have to.
I don't have to know it all.
Nah, you just have to know the pros who knows.
Apex Pros. I'm not the dumbest guy in Columbus.
I didn't even know who Johann Gertis was.
Inventor of the gas-powered unicycle. Look it up, doy.
Okay, you don't have to be me.
No doubt about it. Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
Next on Metro's Nada Yada Island podcast.
I almost fainted when the 4 new bombshells arrived. 4 free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G phones at Metro.
No way.
And finding out the 4th line is free. Ooh, things got heated.
That's wild. Join Metro and get 4 free Samsung 5G phones. Only at Metro.
plus tax. Bring 4 numbers and an ID and sign up for any MetroFlex plan. Not available currently at T-Mobile or been with Metro in the past 180 days.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
For the Blue Jackets, the magic happens on the ice. But for Blue Jackets fans looking for an amazing getaway, the real Florida magic is here in Central Florida's Polk County. From the natural beauty of Bok Tower Gardens, to the all-ages fun at Legoland Florida Resort, to the chance to do some luxurious glamping on a working dude ranch, it's all here. Even better, it's all just minutes from other area theme parks, too. Discover everything we offer and plan your trip to see the real Florida